everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 78. We're back in the basement to talk about another week of wrestling. I am your host, and across the table from me, my co-host and teenage son, Jack. Say hi, Jack.
Hi.
So, online learning done for now. Happy?
Yes.
So, Monday, we go back to face-to-face learning here in Ontario. We'll see how long it lasts. They're basically not tracking any cases or reporting any cases anymore, unless your school or your whatever gets to like 30% infected, and then they'll deal with it, I guess, is what we're going with. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, anything exciting happened to you this week?
I watched Free Guy 2 times this week.
Right. And you're happy. How many times have you seen it all together now?
5.
So you recommend it, obviously?
Yes.
I will watch it with you at some point.
Yeah, it's Ryan Reynolds, so...
Right. You're a big Ryan Reynolds fan these days?
Well, Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. He looks like Ryan Reynolds, and he's funny like Ryan Reynolds.
He
so
does look
why
like
he's
Ryan
good.
Reynolds. That's true.
And then I started watching X-Men movies.
Right.
First Class, very nice.
Yep.
Days of Future Past is pretty good too. That's the one that everyone says is really good, and it was good, but I still like First Class better. And then I watched X-Men Origins Wolverine, which the Deadpool in that movie is a joke. It's funny. He has like no mouth.
Right.
You should like Google it. Deadpool X-Men Origins Wolverine. It's so funny. But that was good. And then what did I just watch? I watched Apocalypse,
Right.
which has Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse, which I had no idea it was him.
I don't know who that is.
Poe Dameron.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's helpful.
Yeah. And so that one was probably my least favorite so far.
Nice.
So I've seen 4, and then I was gonna watch Dark Phoenix, but that one I didn't want to.
So we didn't.
I watched Free Guy.
Pretty lazy week for us, right? Considering
Yeah.
we're under restrictions here and can't really do very much, even if you want to. But I don't know. What did I do this week? Anything exciting? No. Went for a couple walks.
You're still doing that other podcast?
Yeah, I'm just starting possibly a new project that I might mention eventually. I'm not sure if we're mentioning it yet, but yes, I have started another project with a new friend that I've met and sort of getting to know and enjoying that quite a bit. So that could be something fun to do in the future. But yeah, just getting through the week, enjoying a weekend here. Football playoffs start, which is always fun for me. Or is that this weekend? Maybe there's a week off before it starts. But anyways, there might be actually games today that I need to record and think about that shortly. But anyways, I'll look into that a bit later. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have... not feeling very bantery today. I don't have too much to say. Do you have anything else before we proceed?
I also watched a bit of Megamind.
Oh, it went back to Megamind, eh?
Yeah.
Is that the one your brother doesn't really like, but you really
'cause
like?
He's dumb.
He's not dumb, but he just has a different opinion from you, which is fine.
I didn't know it was Will Ferrell.
Yeah, you didn't know it was Will Ferrell. That's funny.
Yeah. I looked up like a lot of cast
Voice
and
actors.
I was just like, oh my god. Like Scarlett Johansson was in Sing.
Right.
That's what it was.
Yep.
That's crazy.
So basically, Marvel people and I guess other actors you know now very well, finding out they did voice acting as well.
Yeah.
You'll start to notice as you
That's
watch them
weird.
now. You're going, I know that voice, and then you think for a second, and then you figure
yeah.
out who it is.
I didn't even know Ed Helms was in the Lorax until we were watching in school. I was like,
Who was he?
that
I
sounds
don't.
a lot like Bunzler.
Oh right. So you used to love that movie too.
And I
when
knew
you
it
were a
was
kid.
Danny DeVito after a while for the Lorax.
Right.
Yeah, Lorax is great.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I almost memorized all the lyrics to Let It Grow.
Sounds like you need
Almost
to do
perfectly.
a movie podcast soon
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
I could totally do that. It would just be too much Marvel for your liking.
It would be too much Marvel for my liking.
Oh, that's how I'll force you to get to watch Marvel is we do movie podcast.
And you rave about it, and I talk about how I tried to stay awake because it's so
just
boring.
Gave me a good idea.
Nice. Well, you want to torture me and make me watch all the Marvel movies?
That's not nice.
So far, I've tried, man. I've honestly tried. I can't get into them. They are not very. Some of them are okay. I mean, whatchamacallit was Guardians of the Galaxy was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
But some of them I find boring. But anyways, let's transition from talking about movies into talking about some wrestling. What do you think?
Yeah, that works.
All right, so we'll start out talking about I thought was a pretty slow week, but nonetheless, the week of wrestling news and rumors. So taking a look at the ratings, as we tend to do first here, is NXT's live edition of 2.0 drew 647,000 viewers this week, which is down 5.54%, and earned a 0.14 in the key 18 to 49 demographic, down 12.5%. Was their third best audience since October 28th Halloween Havoc episode, so decent numbers, I guess, for them. Wednesday's AEW live show for Dynamite drew 969,000 viewers, which is down slightly 4.05%, and earned a .39 in the 18 to 49 demographic. So that's down 9.3%. Lowest audience since Winter is Coming. Not that that was that long ago, mid-December. But to contrast, it was the second best key demographic rating.
Feels like a while ago. It's weird.
Yeah, it does. Second best demo rating since they got a .4 on October 27th.
It does feel like, because that was like right before our break, right?
Yes, it was. So decent numbers for both shows, I guess, and good demo numbers for AEW at least. What do you have for us on this? I thought slow news week. I don't know about you.
It was, yeah. So I got a report on apparently Elimination Chamber could be moving to Saudi Arabia, as they usually have a Saudi Arabia pay-per-view in February, so it could be Elimination Chamber this year. And there's a decent chance, Meltzer says, that the match type and maybe the entire event will be dubbed WrestleMania Chamber.
Oh my God, are you serious? Like, that sounds like a joke. WrestleMania Chamber. Just sneak that.
WrestleMania Backlash, right?
Sneak that branding in there whenever possible.
Yeah,
I guess,
WrestleMania
right?
Backlash, WrestleMania Chamber, that works. It might be because they want to avoid the word elimination in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, I believe that is the case.
But
as they did in Germany.
I don't know. I
ago.
feel like they should just do Elimination Chamber after Saudi Arabia, because then if they'd put Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia, that makes me have to watch it, because Elimination Chamber's fun.
Oh, you're gonna watch it? I don't know if I will or not.
If there's Elimination Chamber.
I have a no watching Saudi show policy, but
yeah, but it's Elimination Chamber.
It is. We'll see how it goes, or you can watch it and review it on your own and tell me how it was. Maybe we'll see.
Or we'll just watch the chamber matches.
Maybe I'll think about it. You'll probably convince me. MLW news. I didn't watch it this week, but apparently they teased the debut of a recently released WWE talent. Did you hear about this?
I don't think so.
Someone you actually would care about. So during the
Tyler Rust.
No, not that much. During the final scene of this week's episode, they had a shot of two doors in the Azteca Underground locker room, I guess. And one door, there were signs on it, read Selena, which is referencing former MLW manager Selena De La Renta, who I remember seeing a little bit.
Oh, I think I know who that is.
The other door was labeled Killshot.
Ooh.
Right, which was in NXT known as Swerve Scott, a personal favorite of ours.
But then I can't see him.
Previously known as Shane Strickland, and basically
also Killshot.
Killshot was his character during the Lucha Underground days, right? So that would be a great get for MLW, I think, and I might even tune in to see him, because I would tune in to see him. I'm a big fan of Swerve Scott, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Mark my words, I will watch anything with Tyler Rust.
Yes, you will.
Taylor Rust, Russ Taylor, whatever.
One of his many, many names. Where is he right now? It was ROH last.
It was ROH. I don't know, and I don't know where he is. I don't know. I wish I knew.
Big fan, just have no idea where he is or what he's doing. Big fan, though.
That's not my fault.
What else you got?
The Viking Raiders are the new number one contenders. I thought that's kind of interesting, because when have they ever done anything?
Well, aren't there only two tag teams? So wouldn't it be like the champion and the contender?
Okay, it was them. It was Los Lotharios, which is Garza and Courier, which is actually like a solid team, actually, right. I think, because they're cousins and whatnot.
Yep.
And they're both Hispanic, so got to team them together.
Of course. Got to clump all the cultures together.
There's also Jinder Mahal and Shanky, which is a real tag team, in fact.
Right.
And Cesaro and Mansoor, which is also a real tag team.
Cesaro and Mansoor are a tag team?
They were in the four-way match, at least.
I did not know this.
Yep. I didn't even know until I saw the match. So I was like, oh, they're a team.
Interesting.
So, yep.
Good for them.
There's also the New Day.
At least they're getting a tiny bit of attention, even if they're still drastically underused.
How can you be underused in such a small division?
Right, but still, you are. Tommaso Ciampa wrestled on main event, where he defeated T-Bar. Poor T-Bar. Showed off his newly dyed beard, right? He got rid of the gray. He went full brown, which just makes me think that he's even more likely to be leaving NXT, sort of like adjusting his look to be... I don't know, Vince would love him to take the gray out of his beard for sure. I could see that happening easily. And he wasn't the only 2.0 talent to make a main roster appearance, right? Because I think Pete Dunne was also on main event and was able to defeat Tozawa. And I just saw...
Wow, he beat Tozawa. That's difficult.
I actually think that Dunne and Ciampa just wrestled each other as well. I saw that
Wasn't that the SmackDown Dark match?
Going through news today, yeah. So it looks like they're getting lots of... prep time before main roster debuts to me, which is too bad. I mean, if that's what they want to do, then good for them. But as a fan of them, it doesn't bode well when people graduate from NXT to main roster generally.
They're gonna kill Pete Dunne.
And I would love to say that Pete Dunne is a can't miss talent, but he's not, because I don't know. They may
miss
not.
Everyone.
they may not find him very charismatic or whatever. But anyways, we'll see what happens, I guess. What else you got?
Apparently Bobby Lashley won out of the WWE Day 1 main event once he knew Lesnar was involved.
Of course.
Smart man. And
didn't he take the pin too?
No, that was Big E. Oh,
right. I knew it was somebody who shouldn't have taken the pin.
Yeah, it
Poor
was
Big E, man. Honestly,
he said he's like dissatisfied with the run. Like honestly, and I was saying that's like one of the things that they were getting right, and then of course they did that wrong too.
Right. They gave him a chance and then quickly went, nope, it's not moving the needle or whatever.
It's not even like it was going bad either. Like I understand like Belair perhaps like she started out good, but then it kind of got in there. But I think Big E was doing generally good.
And they've just.
He's such like a their guy.
And it's what we've been saying. Now you've got Lesnar and Reigns, and who the heck do you have in a position that's realistic to beat either of them, right?
Right.
I don't see anybody.
Oh my God, right. They're
maybe
both
Rollins.
Like,
they're building Rollins, I guess.
Yes, I think he's on a face turn.
I think so too. But anyways, okay, my last news story, and you know it's a slow news week when Aaliyah makes my news. Did you hear?
Yeah.
That Aaliyah made WWE history? She has set a record for WWE.
Yeah, I saw.
And that was defeating Natalya in the quickest match in WWE history. Looks like it was 3.17 seconds, right? Something about, I saw Natalya like attacked her before the match or something.
Oh, and Natalya's carrying around a Guinness book.
Right, because she's bragging about her records that she has or something.
Which is...
I don't know.
Something
that required
important?
Caring much more than I do. I just thought it was funny. And Aaliyah apparently tweeted after the show, Aaliyah 317 means I just kicked your ass. So there, you heard it here first. Aaliyah is the next Steve Austin. Get ready, because here she comes now.
Oh my God, she's been there forever, and she has not done anything ever.
But she's cashing checks, so good for her, I guess, right?
Yeah,
good Canadian girl.
She's been in NXT for so long. Oh my God,
she's been in WWE forever. Right?
I know. And she's only gotten to the main roster last year.
And you should go look at a side by side of her at the beginning and now. She looks very, very different for some reason somehow. I won't speculate on anything, but her appearance has changed somewhat drastically over the years. Anything else from you? That was it for me.
So we kind of missed this because because I'm dumb. So the Acclaimed dropped their music video on Rampage.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet.
Which is Goth Phase. It was pretty nice, actually.
I will
They
go and
made
check it out.
a crack sting about a buckle bomb, hitting him with a buckle bomb.
Right.
Get
for
it?
his spinal stenosis. Isn't that what Rollins did to
Yeah.
to murder him?
Yeah.
I actually forgot to check it out.
Yeah, because I remember last week on Dynamite, they said it's going to come next week, and then it didn't come on Dynamite, and we were confused. That's even in my notes. And then it came on, and I was like, oh, they forgot, but I guess next week also applies to Rampage.
Yeah, that is true.
I just didn't think that it would go on Rampage.
And I don't usually get around to Rampage till Saturday or Sunday, so
right.
I will check it out.
If I would have put the music video on Dynamite and put them versus Bear Country on Rampage.
Are you interested in watching Rampage later?
Maybe.
Today or tomorrow?
Maybe. I'll at least watch the tag title match.
Yeah.
Is there... Oh, also Cole Beretta.
Right. There's a couple of matches that look good.
I did make the rule that I will always refer to him as his full name now, Trent Beretta, because he's now Trent Beretta.
Right,
so
he's got the name back. So
I have to call him Trent Beretta.
As you should.
Yep.
Is that it for news?
That is.
All right, so let's move into talking about some AEW Dynamite, I guess, and we'll do that right about now.
So first we get a promo from Adam Cole and Red Dragon, which I accidentally wrote. I meant to write Undisputed Era, so that's my bad.
I wrote Cole and Red Dragon.
Yeah, well, you're not intellectual.
Didn't want to call me dumb on air.
Yeah, okay, fine, you're dumb.
Usually his line is, "You're dumb, stop being dumb," or something like that.
That's dumb, you're dumb.
That's dumb, you're dumb. That's the one. That's your catchphrase.
I was watching a Hishi, how it should have ended, and like and Cody Armano is like, "That's dumb, you're dumb."
So that is now your current catchphrase.
It works.
Do you remember your catchphrase when you were a little kid? You had a catchphrase for a while?
Booyah-skadoosh?
No. That's terrible. You used to say that about a lot of things.
I also like Booyah-skadoosh.
I don't remember you using that one,
no,
but I remember
no,
that's terrible
now it does.
a lot.
Anyways, Cole says 2021 was a great year for them, and 2022 will be even better. And considering they split up and fought a lot, I don't know how true that is, but we'll go with that.
Sure.
He talks about how he is undefeated. That is factual. And the boys are back together, and it's a new era in AEW.
Era.
Can't
dispute that.
Yep, exactly. That is an undisputed era. The Bucks come out and ask what's going on. They say thanks for the invite, and Kyle O'Reilly says they weren't invited to Jacksonville either, which I thought was... it was confusing at first, because I'm like, they started the company in Jacksonville, but then he elaborated, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, because he's referring to the interference in their match was that last week? No, it was a couple weeks ago.
I think so.
So I was confused at first. And Matt says they'll play nice, but this is their company, and they're the longest reigning tag team champions in AEW, and their resolution is to get the belts back. Kyle O'Reilly says their resolution is the same, and Fish says no team will stand in their way, and that includes the Bucks.
Ooh.
Cole says this is what they need. Yeah. Some friendly competition, and it makes them the best faction in AEW. Sure.
Because he's just trying to play peacemaker, right? And plant those seeds of like, even if you guys have a match, we can still be like a cohesive group, and that's what makes us special. The fact that we can,
if best friends can
battle
bring
each
back,
other without infighting.
If best friends should bring back Rocky Romero, give me another Survivor Series match.
Sure.
Yeah. I'd actually care about that. See, if the fact that I'm asking for one now is like
strange,
weird.
Yes, it is.
But that's because they do it good.
They do. That is true. Much better for sure.
Cole says, "Look at the best friends," calls them a joke, and almost on cue, their music hits and they come out. And Cole asks what Cassie could possibly have to say that is of any importance, and he attacks Cole, which erupts into a brawl between the two factions. Cole hits a low blow to set Cassie up for the last shot, but Statlander stands in the way until Britt Baker runs out to hit a curb stomp to Statlander. Yay. And then Cole hits a super kick and a last shot to Cassidy.
Yeah, I think we feel differently about the Britt Baker appearance here.
No, that's awesome.
Which is fine. So I thought they gave us just enough of a tease of issues between Bucks and Red Dragon, right? With Cole acting as the peacemaker. Again, even saying like, if you guys end up fighting each other, it's okay. Our group's strong enough to sustain that, which I thought was good. Britt's involvement was a bit of a surprise here. I don't really need to see her. She was almost like, I have it as like non-heel happy here and kissing her man, right? Which is not consistent with
gloating heels.
Consistent with her character. No, but she looked just like not heel happy, just like happy, and I didn't like it. But it's a decent way, I think, to elevate Statlander, right, to be kind of the next challenger. So I get that. I just hope it's a rare occurrence and that Britt mostly stays doing her own thing separate from Cole at this point, because she's fantastic on her own, and I don't need all of these commingling. I hope it's more like a one-off or a rare occurrence, but I thought it was a fine segment. Nothing super special. I'm not sure why this was the opening segment they went with, but I didn't think there was anything wrong with it, really. What about you?
Oh, there we go. A solid promo from Cole, I thought. I thought it was standard, pretty good. I like the interaction between Red Dragon and the Bucks, because that's just a sweet match.
That will be amazing.
In the making. Best friends coming out didn't amount to much other than a short brawl, but I really enjoyed Baker joining the fray. I don't think she looked happy. I don't really see that.
Yeah, that's fine.
As I like, because they're finally kind of acknowledging her and Cole more, which I think is cool. And I think she kind of fits there. Like, I don't know, I really like it, and I think it's cool for them to have a female person there, because the best friends have Statlander. Maybe that's all this is.
It is, I think.
I don't know if she's in that group or just kind of associated right now, but either way, I like that involvement. I would have kind of preferred to start the show with a match, but I think this is still a fine way to start the show.
Yeah,
I kind of like it.
I don't think Britt needs them, and I don't think they need Britt, right? Like
I think they need Britt.
You've got two really strong separate acts that I don't think you need to merge together into one, but we'll see. I usually trust AEW, right? So we'll see what they're doing first before I get too down on it.
Mm-hmm. Next we get a Wardlow video package. It's just like a narrator talking about his dominance using music references, with the Symphony of Power Bombs being
lots of classical music
video
metaphors.
Yeah, I didn't really cover much because I don't really know how to, like, I don't know, it's just
a hype video, really, right? And with classical music talk somehow, and I don't know, even my notes are like, I wonder if this is coincidental or on purpose, because it seems to be multiple like symphonies of whatever talking about Wardlow. So I don't know what the end game is here, but I guess we'll find out.
Mm-hmm. It was okay. It wasn't great. Didn't love it or anything, but it was like really short.
It was. I didn't write much about it, to be honest. It was just a quick hype video.
Mm-hmm. And then next we moved to CM Punk versus Wardlow in a half CM Punk match, which was slightly adapted to be against a big man, and half Wardlow powerbombs.
Yeah, it was.
Notables, there are some holds and encounters until Wardlow bulldozes Punk with a shoulder tackle. Punk goes for a GTS. Wardlow gets out, looks for a powerbomb, but Punk avoids it, ducks out of the ring. Punk goes for a tornado DDT from the corner later on, but Wardlow throws him off. Punk hits the high knee in the corner, but taunts MJF for too long and gets powerbombed. And then Wardlow hits 4 more powerbombs, goes for the 1-foot pin, but MJ says no, he wants more. Powerbombs Punk 2 more times at MJF's behest, then powerbombs him through the timekeeper's table. And Punk barely beats the 10 count. MJF wants more powerbombs. Then the finish comes when Punk catches him with the small package for the win.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on this because it was more about the storytelling than the in-ring. I think the in-ring I don't think helps CM Punk, right? Like, I don't know if this helps the Punk MJF feud because Wardlow's supposed to be like a stop on the way, right? And he got absolutely dominated by Wardlow, and the only reason Wardlow didn't win is because he followed Miz's instructions. So
You called him Miz.
Sorry, again, MJF's instructions. So
I don't even think I've heard that before.
I've done it once before, I know.
Have you?
I don't...
Oh, okay, I haven't even heard that.
So I don't know if this helps the MJF Punk feud at all because Punk just got destroyed in this match, right? And the idea is that Wardlow's the lead up to MJF. So, I mean, Wardlow looked like a dominant beast here other than, of course, losing to a roll-up after taking almost no damage in this match, right?
Yeah, or at least, like, I feel like the damage he did take was, like, way before, and then you just powerbombed him where I think he got, like, a lot of rest time, so to speak.
Right. And then it is further teasing Wardlow's departure from Pinnacle because MJF kind of cost him this match by demanding more power bombs and whatever. And I guess MJF can get even angrier with Punk for picking up the cheap win, but it kind of reduces my interest in Punk MJF a little bit. I mean, they can recover by getting some more mic time or whatever. And I guess Punk needed to keep his undefeated streak alive at this point, right? But got dominated. So in some ways, I didn't like it, but it also accomplished quite a bit, so I'm kind of torn on it, but I really don't think Punk should have been absolutely dominated the way he was here. I don't know how that helps MJF Punk situation, but again, they've got time to... Those two could cut a promo next week and get me back interested right away, so we'll see what happens.
MJF yelled at Wardlow after saying he never wins a big match, can't get it done. He grabs MJF's hand as he's pointing at him. Spears comes down to play peacemaker, and then Wardlow just kind of walks off angrily while Spears is following, trying to calm him down.
Right.
He's the accountability buddy.
Right. For further teasing this inevitable Wardlow.
Further teething?
Teething. He's teething. Wardlow's teething. That's why he's so upset.
Yep. Exactly. But yeah, I thought that it was a fine match, I guess. Like, it wasn't bad, but it was much better than all Wardlow's previous squashes, but eventually descended into extended version of that, which I didn't love. It just
against like a main eventer, right? So
the first half or so, this match was fine, like an average Punk match, pretty much. But the part where it turns into a Wardlow squash powerbomb symphony wasn't too great. The finish was kind of lame. At least it resulted in the real first part of Wardlow breaking from MJF, but yet we still don't get the full payoff, which is honestly fine. I'm okay with them kind of holding off on that.
Me
for a bit more.
They do well at dragging things out, sort of, right? Slow burning things.
Next we get Dante Martin versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I've just given up on calling him Will Hobbs. I'm pretty sure. I think it's been a while.
It has. You held out long enough, I think. Yeah.
It was a meh TV match that didn't have much going on. So notables, there's a crossbody over the top ropes with Martin. So Hobbs is against the ropes and he crossbodies. So then they both go over the top rope. Hobbs catches an apron dive from Martin after and hits a spinebuster ringside, which is pretty nice.
That was the only highlight I made note of, was a nasty spinebuster on the floor.
Dante flips out of a torch rack and falls with a rope step shotgun dropkick, and then later a top rope shotgun dropkick for 2. A body tackle by Hobbs, and Starks looks to interfere, but Jay Lethal pulls him off the apron because Jay Lethal's Dante Martin's best friend, right?
Apparently.
And then Martin hits a nosedive for the win. And then when Hobbs gets pinned, he kind of sells it like a roll-up, which I thought was weird.
Yeah. I thought this was decent, I guess, but pretty similar to like the way the opening match went, right? With the power guy pretty much dominating the smaller guy, who then kind of sneaks out the win. And Dante's stuff, some of it I didn't think was as clean as it usually is. And it reminded me of, he was playing the role of Darby Allin here, right? Where you get killed for 80% of the match, then hit the odd flurry and sort of win in the end. And I think just Team Taz, right? They continue to look pretty weak. None of them can really win anything or do anything. And I don't really feel, I don't know about you, but I don't feel super strongly about a Jay Lethal, Ricky Starks program. So I was hoping for better out of this match. I didn't really love it, if I'm being honest, but I thought it was okay.
Because I remember, I think the first match was at least like it was solid, right? But yeah, It wasn't terrible or anything, but if I'm being honest, it was just okay, not very interesting. For the bulk of the match, it just felt like a bit of a slog. Didn't really hold my interest. Even when Dante kind of got going, pick up the pace, it didn't feel as fast or energetic as past matches, and then the finish was just okay with it being a little sudden. I found it weird how he kind of sold that supposed finisher like a roll-up.
Right.
Which, it's like, it didn't have a ton of effect, which, to be fair, it doesn't look super impactful.
No, this was underwhelming for me.
Yeah, definitely. Not the most underwhelming one on the show, though.
No.
Next we get an Inner Circle interview, which is just everyone except Sammy Guevara. Jericho says it's a great honor to have gotten 2021 Faction of the Year from PWI, and it's no surprise. I don't know, you could have gone with the Pinnacle or the frickin' Elite.
Right.
He says their mission statement has always been the same, which I thought that was kind of funny. He says tonight with Guevara versus Garcia, they'll take out 2.0 if they try to interfere. Kingston comes in and tells Jericho to mind his own business, talks about how his knee is messed up. He says Jericho is why Proud and Powerful aren't tag team champions. Not wrong. And Jericho starts to go off on Kingston. Santana says they got to get this crap together. He says if 2.0 interfere, he'll kick their asses, and if Kingston interferes, he'll do the same.
Yeah, I thought it was the funniest part about this was Jericho. Remember, he botched the word company and said country instead. And I thought that's kind of indicative of how I feel about Jericho, is that he's just kind of going off the cuff and he doesn't really, I don't feel like he's into it much these days, and he's just kind of getting a bit lazy.
Yeah.
I would personally love for Santana and Ortiz to ditch Jericho and join Eddie Kingston would be great, or as you would like them just to get out of Inner Circle regardless.
I think it would be ironic if they join up with Kingston.
Yeah,
just because
their history.
Impact, yeah.
And like Eddie Kingston just makes everything better, right? I was kind of bored by this and going, oh, another Jericho kind of lazy juvenile promo, and then Eddie Kingston comes in and makes everything better, I think. So just put Eddie Kingston in any segment that's not going well and I'll be fine with it pretty much. So I didn't love this, but it was fine, and I'm hoping Ortiz and Santana end up with Eddie Kingston just dominating for a while.
Mm-hmm. It was all right. I just have no interest whatsoever in Kingston versus Jericho. It might be a win for Kingston, but I would rather him lose to someone better than beat Jericho, because this just doesn't feel worth my time.
Right.
And I could honestly just see Jericho winning anyways,
because it's possible.
Jericho, right?
Yep.
And Jericho saying their mission never changes is kind of funny, because I think this year was when they kind of turned face, because the Pinnacle was born.
For sure.
Right? So I mean, maybe their mission could be the same.
And they don't even do stuff together as a group much anymore. It's kind of like they're off doing their own things.
And then they came together to face American Top Team.
Right, which, thank goodness for that.
And yeah, Jericho's promo was still just meh again. I think Kingston has a solid point, but Santana Ortiz Inner Circle is holding them back.
Yes, I think so.
Hager, I don't care, and Guevara, I thought he would do more.
Santana and Ortiz need to be like top of the tag division.
I think they have the most potential out of the Inner Circle now. I would have thought Guevara was like a top guy, like one of the pillars, but I think the TNT title run it wasn't bad, but it just didn't.
It was underwhelming as a face for me, really.
And I think Proud and Powerful have the most potential, because I think they work either way.
Yep.
Really well too. So, yeah. It was all right.
Yeah.
Next we get MJF coming out quick. He's anger. He says he hates to interrupt, even though he was the only real star on the show. He says he knows Punk is backstage and is in a world of pain. He might want congratulations, but he got powerbombed into oblivion, and everyone knows it was a fluke. Definitely seemed like it. He says next week he'll make sure that Punk takes his first loss in AEW, and repeatedly asks if they want the match, you want the match, you want the match. And next week we get, finally, CM Punk versus Shawn Spears.
Yeah, this was classic heel work by MJF, right? He works the crowd into a frenzy and then gives them the Spears Punk match instead. So just a quick, like, classic old school heel promo that basically just shows that he can manipulate the fans into reacting in the way that he wants them to react, which we all know he can do because he's amazing. So yeah, I thought it was a solid, quick little MJF promo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was nice. It was really quick. Compared to his usual ones. It sets up kind of an interesting match for me. I think it should be good, could be interesting with MJF involved again. Like maybe this time he's a little more desperate, so he gets more involved in the match, right? Which I think is maybe what he's implying too.
Punk just better win more decisively in that one, I would hope.
Mm-hmm. And next we get UE and the Bucks backstage, so they're back at it again. Cole says they have whooped best friends' asses over and over and over again, and says even Statlander isn't safe. Baker says hi to Statlander and challenges Statlander to cast into a mixed tag match against her and Cole next week. Yeah. She tells Brandon Collar to cut it, and he corrects her because or she said it's Brandon Butler.
Right.
And then everyone tells him to shut up. They're like, "Oh, shut up, Brandon."
Yeah, when he tries to correct that it's Cutler, right, or whatever. I thought it was fine, I guess. Again, I still want her to do most of her work away from Cole, but I guess this is a way to get her and Statlander together, so I won't complain too much, but this was nothing special.
I thought it was a solid short promo from them to set up kind of an interesting match for me next week. Baker's an interesting addition to the group. I kind of like it. I also enjoyed everyone just being mean to Cutler. It's kind of amusing. And the tag match next week could be good. I can't remember if they've done any mixed tags before other than Cody and Red Velvet versus Shaq and Cargill.
And that was a legendary battle. Actually, Shaq performed pretty well in that one.
He went through tables.
He did. Hey, a non-wrestler doing stuff. That's fine.
Yeah, sure. Next, we get a in-ring promo from Hangman Page. He says the past 2 months he has spent 90 minutes against one of the best in the world in the ring.
True.
Referring to
the best in the world.
Someone he faced on Dark, I assume.
Yes, probably. Right? Serpentico.
Exactly. He talks about all he went through for the grand prize of the AEW World Title, and it's still his. He says the records have reset in the new year, and he needs a new challenger, and he sees Lambert coming out and says, shoot me, which I thought was funny.
Yes, we all feel that way, I think.
Lambert says stuff about Stan Hansen and the Funks, just kind of think he's calling like Hangman a phony and whatnot. He says he wanted a challenger. If one of the men in the year guys wants a shot, they can come face to face. Lambert says he knows how good Hangman is, and the matches with Danielson are some of the best he's seen in 40 years. He respects Hangman because he didn't take the Cody Rhodes route to the top, but he says he doesn't like his cowboy gimmick or whatever. He does say that too.
Yes. Exposes the business.
Yep, and it's just him pretending, and Hangman says he came out looking for a challenge, but instead he got Lambert, so he tells him to get in the ring. Lambert says he'll make his exit, and Lance Archer comes out with a chair, and he chases Lambert into the ring, but then turns his attack on Hangman and hits a blacker on the chair, which is pretty nice.
It was pretty nice. So yeah, Lambert gets a ton of heat, obviously, and I think this was a good way to make Archer look strong in his return. I'd kind of forgot about him a little bit, if I'm being honest. So he definitely looks like a monster here coming back, and he's a good, what we've started calling it, like a placeholder challenger, right, for Hangman to beat before whatever his next major feud is that comes along. So I don't know, Hangman's a really good babyface like fighting champion, right? And he just did more of that here. Lambert bothered me a lot less than usual. I don't know if it was because he was by himself, and I don't know,
the whole gimmick thing bothered me though.
Yeah, a little bit of that, right? So I thought the segment did its job in terms of Hangman's a babyface and Archer's back looking like a monster. So I thought this was fine.
I thought it was a solid promo from Hangman. Even Lambert was alright. Still don't love him. When he went after the gimmick, like I said, that was just really annoying because, again, it just feels like exposing the business too much, and no one else is really, like, talking like that, so I don't know why he should. I haven't seen Archer in a while, honestly. I kind of forgot about him, but I guess he was kind of cool to see here. Blackout on the chair to Hangman was pretty cool.
It was good.
He's a good challenger and all, but it's definitely another, like, big loss for him, unfortunately, which kind of sucks because he's pretty good, but I just think there's so many better who are going to get to the top, and I just don't know if he ever will, just because
I agree. He's kind of like in that tier or two below, right? He's in the tier,
but like I don't think he'll ever actually top it.
No, I agree.
So next we get the most exciting interview in human history.
Man, this show was not.
Lee Johnson.
Didn't love it.
And Brock Anderson.
Right. What a tag team.
Oh, yeah.
What a dream team this is.
The literal dream team. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Nightmare team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you could call him, actually. Arn says he's proud of them. He says this is horseman country, if he says so. Tully says it is, but if they want to relive it, they need to ditch the dead weight. I think the dead weight is them, and Arn has a dead weight.
Yeah, I think might have things confused here, yes.
And Dax says, why don't they take their open challenge next week? And Brock agrees.
Why? This is not a match that I have any interest in seeing. This is a roster full of super talented people that I do want to see. It's starting to feel like there's just too much talent, and because they feel the need to try and get people on TV, we get some things that aren't very interesting like this. I think the main draw here was seeing Tully and Arn interacting, right? But I mean, FTR versus I think Lee Johnson's actually pretty good, but I have no desire to see Brock Anderson anytime soon, so not something I want to see going forward.
Yeah, this is fine. It was very short. FTR versus Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson of all people is a joke. Not exactly on my list of dream matches, let's say. I mean, it is one of the best tag teams today against Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson.
That is correct.
That's just hilarious. Actually, sorry, I meant to say one of the best tag teams today against FTR.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Next we get a quick Jade Cargill package. Sterling says how she now has the championship and that means more than money because it makes them money. So is money more important?
I guess.
Cargill says she did everything she said she would and the title is hers, and she says it's that bitch show, the catchphrase every time.
Yep. I don't know, short and fine, nothing special. It's just like reminding us she won and she's a champion, and that's all.
Yeah, it was a solid short package. Nothing much but a small follow-up from last week. I don't know if you can even call it that.
Right.
Next we get what some would call Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida, even though it's hardly such.
This one was a surprise for me.
A very one-sided and very short match.
It was.
Notables, Deeb attacks Shida. She's walking down the ramp in her entrance, and a shin breaker on the steel stairs. And the finish comes when Deeb bashes Shida's left leg on the ring mat multiple times, locks in a tequila sunrise, and the ref stops the match. Deeb wins and continues a leg attack with kendo stick after.
Yeah, it was like minutes, right, this match? So at first I was disappointed because I really wanted to see this match because I enjoy both of these women, and they've had good matches in the past, but I did like Deeb's attack before the bell, and this was my notes at the time, right? I thought they were creating an easy story for them to tell throughout this match, which is Deeb's obviously going to target that injured limb, and she's so good that she would have a million interesting ways to do that, but that's not really what we got at all. It was just a quick beat down, and the ref stops it. So, I mean, Serena Deeb looks vicious here, which I think is good. I guess we're going to get the match I wanted to see anyways later, and hopefully this adds some more drama to it, I guess. And I think like Deeb is doing a good job as a heel, and she could be really a top heel in with this role in this company, and it's something different than Britt Baker is, right? Like Britt is like the cocky, having fun and just sort of heel, and Deeb is the super intense, vicious one. So right. I think there's room for both of them. I think the match needs a stipulation, and maybe that's what we're getting to at some point. I hope it's not one that takes away from their technical skill, though, because that's what I really want to see. Like the Mickie James, Deonna Purrazzo being whatever it was, Extreme Rules or whatever they want to call it, really took away from their match because both of those women are awesome technicians, and they just didn't really do much. So I'm hoping that that's not the case with this match. The feud's been lingering forever, and I guess this type of match gives it a little bit of renewed energy. So I think I ended up coming around, and I'm okay with the way this went down because I think it's going to turn into something better in the future.
Yeah, this is not all what I was expecting either. I was really hoping for another great match between them. This is not that. I guess the only saving grace, like you said, is that it has to mean something sick for the big blow-off match. Because I now guess since this was a win for Deeb, it also means they're tied at 2 apiece.
Right.
It looks good for the future, but as this match, I did not.
That is true. It puts it at 2-2, right? I didn't even really think about that.
Yeah. So it's good for the future, this feud, but it's as this standalone. Didn't love it.
And it caught me by surprise, which I'm always welcome to, because after a million years of watching wrestling, you're kind of like barely ever surprised. So this one surprised me a little bit. So there's that.
Right. And next we come to a Draft Express interview with Christian Cage, still here for some stupid reason. Cage says hearing them has changed his music to his ears and wishes a fast recovery to Phoenix. Yeah, I bet you do. Jungle Boy welcomes anyone from the top five, and says they worked hard for the titles and will work harder to keep them. Silver and Reynolds come and say they're in the top 5. Yep. And Silver asks what they are doing on Friday, and Jurassic Express accepts the challenge. And what number ranked are they? You didn't ask. Number 5.
Is that with the new rankings for 2022 where everyone has like one match?
Yep.
So really meaningful there.
Yep.
Huge sample size. I think Jungle Boy seems to be getting a little bit more comfortable speaking, which he needs to for sure. It's what's missing from his presentation, basically. And man, John Silver's just entertaining, right? Like, I just find him fun when he talks. So the match should be really good too. Reynolds and Silver are an awesome tag team. And again, obviously, there's no universe where Silver and Reynolds win, but the match should be really good. And it might get me to tune into Rampage. They seem to put at least one really interesting match. Because I'm kind of like you, right, non-committal for Rampage. Like if it
If
catches my eye, then I'll.
There's nothing that interests me. I agree. Like it doesn't seem like there's anything like there's no. I don't.
And you're like, oh, it's only an hour, and there's no matches I want. So, but they keep putting matches I want to see, which is smart. So I'll probably check it out.
The timing is just not ideal.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But I thought this was a solo segment. Silver and Reynolds are very amusing. And it's quite an appealing match. And yeah, they are ranked number 5. It's not a running joke. It's a running fact. They gotta stop doing that. It's just hilarious at this point.
Yep, it started out as like a little joke for us that a lot of people.
But now it's like
it happens a
lot. Acclaimed, somebody else, probably Abaddon.
There's been a bunch.
The best one was the Acclaimed, though. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten Buck Hunt. So I can't hate on it.
That's true.
Next, we get the most random match of random matches ever random matched. Which is Matt Hardy versus my boy Penta. So, I mean, at least he's getting some single spotlight.
I think that's what it was. Get Penta a singles match because he's brother snapped his arm in half and should be off for a while.
I saw a picture of that. Like,
I can't believe he didn't break anything. Like, he dislocated, obviously.
Right. How is that not, like,
and honestly. Maybe it's one of those things where a dislocation's worse and it just doesn't sound as bad because I'm not a medical person, but maybe it's worse than a break. I don't know, but the fact that nothing broke, I was shocked to hear. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and so we get a quick promo from Hardy beforehand. He says to Penta, he's sorry Phoenix got injured, but their downfall began in the loss in the 10-man tag match. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Even though Christian Cage lost. He says tonight in North Carolina and in front of his family, he will delete Penta and send him to the hospital with his brother. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I'm pretty sure he meant a local medical facility.
Yeah, it's a hospital in wrestling. That's not allowed.
I don't.
And he's going back to the whole delete thing pretty heavily in this promo and match, eh? I noticed.
Yeah.
Where he was saying he was going to go to more like real Matt Hardy and be a little more serious.
Maybe he's actually like interested in money, right?
Maybe broken Matt Hardy was just Matt Hardy being himself. After all, we thought it was some like creative genius move, and he's just like, no, man, this is just I'm insane, and this is how I behave.
And being not a creative genius is him being a creative genius.
Right. Him being creative is when he's really boring and normal, and him being himself is when broken Matt Hardy. That's just him.
Right. Or woken Matt Hardy.
Could be. Quite possible.
Woken.
I think we've cracked the code here.
Yeah, we have. In a short enhancement match, or enhancement-like match, at least, there is a back and forth, not a strike exchange. Oh, no. Nope. It was Zero Miedos and Deletes.
Yes, it was.
There's definitely a clear...
And the glove off and throwing it to what's-his-face on the outside.
There's a clear superior taunt here, okay?
I would suggest, yes. But the crowd still does respond to the delete stuff, right? So he'll go back to that well.
Bruh. And Penta runs, but then stops at the corner, just hits an overhand chop in the corner. Sling blades by Penta after the commercial break. A DDT by Hardy for 2. Yes, we're at the point where a DDT is notable. Chop exchange on the apron and a side effect on the apron.
That looked good.
And he rolls Penta in for a 2 count, and Hardy misses a moonsault. I was like, he was climbing up and I was like, moonsault, and he actually did a moonsault. I was like, oh my god. But he misses that because that's what always happens to people. And then Penta hits a package pile driver for the win. And then after he issues a message to Aleister Black, he will show him some respect. As he finishes, the lights go out. Black appears and hits a boot to Alex, and he just obliterates Penta with strikes. Starts to tear at the mask. The audacity.
How dare he?
And the Varsity Blondes come out as he tries to fight them too. They all surround Black. The lights go out, and Brody King appears and kicks all of their asses.
My boy Brody King is here, looking large and tattooed and mean. So yeah, as we were going through this now, I'm starting to feel like, is this roster decimated by COVID, and they had to just throw some people in here?
No, I never considered that, but that's not a bad theory, right? Considering we know WWE kind of did that, right?
And I can see like, okay, so Matt Hardy's in a match, and then like we're talking a Red Velvet, and we got Acclaimed and Bear Country. Anyways,
well, it's Bear County.
True.
Okay, true. They are not a country. Regarding
this match, Hardy at this point isn't very fun to watch, right? He's very limited. Watching him get up off the mat is painful. Like it takes him now that I've pointed it out, look for it next time. Like him getting up from being just knocked down looks like it is not an easy chore for him at this point.
Right.
The match wasn't very long. A good chunk of it was during a commercial break, which frustrates me when the matches aren't long in the first place and we miss like a half of it on a commercial. But anyways, at least Penta got a win as a singles here. I didn't think it was very good. Penta Malachi Black should be really cool, and it was great to finally get Brody King debuting. That was one of my highlights of the show, is the fact that he's finally here. He is a beast, and he presents.
We didn't even get a Gonzo bomb, which that's like a Dominator pile driver,
yes.
right?
So there's so many cool matchup possibilities with Brody King, but Penta and the Varsity Blondes, like, kind of working together feels very strange to me. So some of the storytelling lately that's going on, I'm not loving it, but I don't know. I guess we'll see where it goes. I guess it's just
they don't like Malachi Black. They're like, hey, you're being mean.
Or maybe they had big plans with Phoenix, and now Phoenix is a one-armed man, so they had to call an audible. Probably, I don't know, but we'll see. I guess at least Brody King's here, and he looked awesome.
Yeah, I would like Pac and Penta versus the Kings of the Black Throne.
Absolutely.
I prefer calling them the House of Black because that kind of positions Black as the monarch.
And Pac does have problems with Black, as we'll get back to later.
Yeah. I would honestly like for Brody King to get a partner in the House of Black, then him and the other guy are a tag team.
Yeah, Julia Hart, but
her team with Brody King.
Because notice she did something questionable here that made me think that she was like
yelling at them or whatever. She's like, "That's enough" or whatever. I guess I don't know. She shouldn't be in that.
I don't know if it'll happen. It's partly now just to annoy you that I bring it up so much. Because you just don't want it so badly.
She sucks.
Yeah, she's not good. She's super young.
So this was a fine match. Nothing super interesting. It was pretty much what I expected. At least a fine enhancement match. A few decent moves to get Penta a win. And the aftermath is what this is really for, which was, in fact, good. Getting the debut of Brody King, finally. Yeah. I think that's great. Him and Blackman for a good team. Just based off looks alone. They look so alike. Just like all the tattoos. They have like a dark aesthetic. Like, looks great. Penta should not work with the Varsity Blondes, though, in any capacity, ever. He should literally, just because he's Penta, start chopping their chests off.
Like, even babyface Penta doesn't fit with them, I don't think.
He's not the same babyface.
No,
at all.
Not at all.
Right? Like, he's not. And he should snap their arms off. No, he should choke slam them through a table.
There's enough people with their arms snapped off right now, okay? So, we're good.
Right, yeah.
It's funny because we've been a little bit gun-shy on people setting up tables right now.
They did that, like, literally on Rampage or whatever, right? I'm so afraid of them. Like, it's not even like that I'm, like, actually afraid. I'm just, like, just don't do it.
Yeah, it's a little too soon. We're a bit gun-shy. Yeah. We watched a man lose his arm on live TV. Pretty
much, yeah. It literally... I also happened to see, ironically, a video of Sid.
Yes.
And his poor ankle.
Yeah, I was watching that one live and was disgusted by that back in the day. It's one of the worst ones. I just
came down the stairs and I was just like, ah.
It was like there was no bone in his leg when he jumped down.
There was, yeah.
But anyways.
Next we get a interview with Layla Hirsch, Red Velvet, and Chris Statlander. What a squad that is.
Right.
Statlander talks about the mixed tag match, and Hirsch cuts her off, says that's selfish, and asks if she can handle that and should focus on Rampage. She says she isn't selfish. She's not always trying to get the pin. Velvet says they won't stand a chance if they can't all get together, and they all say, oh, yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, I don't know. They seemed kind of awkward here together, I thought. I do want to see more of Layla Hirsch, so it feels like there's a heel turn coming for her, which I think is good because she could deserve a little bit more attention, I think, from the women's division in general. So yeah, I hope she turns heel, but this was just okay, I guess. Again, it's like these are not major talents that are getting TV time this week. There seems to be some lack of star power or something. I guess not, maybe not. We did get MJF, we did get Hangman, we did get the Elite, so maybe not. But anyways, I just thought this was okay.
It was fine. But it was for a random Rampage match I really don't care about. Like Nyla Rose, Bunny, and Ford teaming together. Ooh.
For sure.
Exciting.
Not one that's going to make me watch Rampage.
Yeah, no, that's actually...
I will watch it in spite of it, not because of it.
That's the only reason... that's the only reason I'm watching Rampage ever. Because Bunny and Ford are teaming together with Nyla Rose.
Hey, they killed in that whatever match.
With a million different weapons.
It was great.
Yeah, right. Next we get the Acclaimed versus Bear County. Sorry, I meant Bear Country because they're
You're like Jericho. You screw up the word country or whatever. Country.
Oh yeah, he meant to say company and then he said country. Yeah. No, I remember once just because a couple times I've mistyped Bear County.
Me too.
And I think it's funny because they're so lame they don't deserve to be a country,
Not
so
yet.
they're a county.
Once they're just small, they're a county for now,
right.
with the potential
Lackawanna
to become
County.
a country. Although the bigger one is about the size of a country on his own. He is a huge fellow.
Yeah, if his name was Bear Country, then we're good to go.
Right.
So in a short and handsome match, another nice little rap for the
entrance.
Was,
yeah, timely.
You can easily find it on social media too.
Yep.
On Instagram.
Again, referring to current events that is always appreciated.
I don't remember what he said, but I know it was funny.
Yeah, it was good.
Because it's always funny. Notables, you want to count them on your fingers? You can, because there's 2.
Yep.
After Bear Country are briefly in control, Bones hits a nice little strike combo, and Caster falls with a diving crossbody, and then we go to a commercial break. Bear Boulder gets what I think he would consider a hot tag, capped off by double end of days.
I think what he would consider a hot
And I say that because he is slow.
He's not fast. He's a
and then
big boy.
Bowens hits a hot shot to Bronson over the top rope where he just pulls their throat over the top ropes. And then, while the ref wasn't looking, the Caster hits the mic drop for the win, which is a nice elbow drop.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Bear Country actually looked pretty good here, and they got a lot of the time in control of this really short match. The Acclaim didn't really get enough for my taste because they are clearly the team that's being elevated at the moment. So I get that the Acclaim needed some heel tactics and distraction, whatever, to win, but I wish that they'd gotten a bit more along the way because Bear Country has not really accomplished anything in AEW, and they're just kind of like a generic big man tag team. So didn't love this. I'll wait to comment on the aftermath, I guess, because you haven't talked about it yet.
What was the aftermath? Oh, right. Sting came out and he did Sting things.
So Sting distracts them kind of from one side, and then Darby hit a really nice looking suicide dive with the skateboard, right?
Oh, I thought he just hit him with the skateboard. I didn't catch that.
No, it was a suicide dive with a skateboard to the midsection, I think it was, which
looked
cool.
Oh, they should do another street fight.
And then just standard rundown involvement AEW stuff other than that.
Yeah, I think it'd be funny if they did another street fight. Remember, it's like in a warehouse.
Oh,
literally
right.
the opposite of a street.
Yes, it was. In a building.
Yeah, in a building, which is the opposite of a street. That was weird. And it had a ring, too.
In there, yeah, it did.
That's just weird. This was pretty short, but it also felt unnecessary. It was just a men-handsome match. Bear Country looked lame as hell. They didn't do anything interesting. Bear Boulder looked especially slow to me. And the Acclaimed, the ones meant to be enhanced here, didn't get like a lot of solid offensive. It's back to the drawing board. Like, this is where they were at the beginning. I remember.
They did no moves. Yes.
And they just didn't get a lot of solid offense here, which they should have because they can now.
To the point where, I was wondering if they were capable of it, right? Because they weren't doing anything, and then it's like slowly, it's like, oh yeah, they're both actually quite good. And then this, was a step back. Like they didn't really do anything.
Mm-hmm. And we would have been much better off if we got the music video we were promised last week, written before seeing Rampage.
Right.
And I hope they'll bring it next week, written before seeing Rampage. The aftermath of Sting was whatever, written before seeing Rampage.
It was whatever.
Because that mattered.
It was pretty standard stuff.
It was, in fact, Sting.
Yep, that's true.
So next we get a Pac promo. He talks about having another...
it's a long-awaited message from the bastard Pac is how they presented it, okay? So how dare you?
Sorry.
First of all, long-awaited.
Okay, so we got a Pac promo, right? That's what it was.
A long-awaited message from the bastard Pac. That is their verbiage. I'm going to stay true to their
intent. True to the canon.
That's right.
He talks about having another setback, and he says Black may have blinded him, but now he sees everything.
And he's blindfolded.
That is factually incorrect.
And he's holding a card with like the eyes crossed out on whatever the card was.
He says now his perspective is different, his vision has never been clearer.
Right.
That's factually incorrect at the moment until he actually looks at things.
But I think the point is, and why I liked it, is because he's had time to sort of reflect because he can't do anything when he can't see. So it's been given him time to get focused and clarity.
No, I know.
Yeah. And I think he was holding a card that said justice on it, right?
I saw that. With
the eyes crossed out. So obviously a feud with Malachi Black or a program or something is coming, and that would be super interesting to me. I like this a lot. The whole vibe of it was really cool. I thought it was
it reminded me of, remember that promo we did when he was trapped wherever?
Yes, it was similar to that, where it's just super he just comes across as just intense and just really cool and a little bit dark even. So I like this a lot. One of my favorite things on this show, actually. And I'm thrilled that they're putting this much effort into Pac because he's possibly my favorite.
It was a solid promo from Pac now. Cool to hear from him after a bit. Long-awaited thing.
Long-awaited message from the bastard Pac. And it was worth the wait, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. And I hope he returns soon. Like in ring, I would love him in Penta versus the House of Black.
Yes, that would be awesome. I don't care if
they call him the Kings of the Black Throne. I'm calling it the House of Black, and they can't stop me. Because that's the better name. That was like Kings of NXT.
What was that?
McAfee.
Oh, right. And what did we call them instead?
They were the brand.
The brand.
They always said
way better.
It was always for the brand.
Right.
Right. His Tron said that like a million times.
And it was a way better name.
Yeah, it was. It was the Kings of NXT. Come on. That's not Pete Dunne. Well, he is, but like he would never say that.
No.
So anyways, next to get Matt Hardy interview. He wasn't on the show enough, I guess.
I was just going to say, more Matt Hardy. That's exactly what I want.
Hardy says he is frustrated, join the club, and something has to change. Yep. Andrade comes in, because that makes sense, and he says to take it easy, and offers him water or whatever, and he says he needs to focus. He says they're both businessmen, they both love money, and he wants to negotiate a deal with Matt. No. I agree. No. In passion, no.
No.
Hardy says he is intrigued. No, he's not. And he would love to talk, not in front of the cameras, and they leave. No.
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 Why is Matt Hardy taking up time from other people at this point? I don't want Andrade anywhere near him. And I'm surprised you got everything Andrade said, because I found that Tony did not get the mic close enough to Andrade, so I couldn't really pick up what he was saying, honestly. So I'm glad you got it and recapped it. I just don't want this. Like, Andrade's cool. Matt Hardy is not, and I don't know why Matt Hardy's getting so much time.
Andrade's so cool. Matt Hardy is not.
The opposite of that at this
to
point.
Be polite.
So I don't want him anywhere near Matt Hardy is my bottom line.
Yeah, this was fine, I guess, right? We're back to that.
Yep.
Back to square one. But I can't exactly say I'm chomping at the bit to see Andrade team with Matt Hardy.
No.
I liked it better when he looked interested in Darby, which was like, what, a week ago or something? 2 weeks ago?
I'm just going to hope Andrade's messing with him and is going to end up killing him.
Although I don't particularly see there's a good fit. But even then, like, what's the point of that?
None, but keep him busy. Keep him
occupied,
I
guess so, right? And then we come to our main event, which is Sammy Guevara versus Daniel Garcia. And actually, in the spirit of Garcia's first name, we go Samuel Guevara versus Daniel Garcia, right? For the interim TNT Championship.
Why?
By the way, they advertised Cody for next week.
Yep.
It's been like by today, when we are recording this on Saturday, January 15th. 2022. It has been 1 week since they crowned the interim.
I told you,
TNT
Cody,
champion.
if it was COVID stuff, he was going to be gone 2 weeks at most. And what's the point of this?
One defenseman interim TNT, and it's not even like on the website. He's not even recognized as the official champ. He's just a placeholder holder, and it's still Cody's reign, right? So
it feels like they were so hell bent on Battle of the Belts having, right, that they just.
Could they not have thrown in a tag title match?
Could have, right? I don't know. I don't get it either.
Or a FTW title match.
Right.
Which
sanction it officially.
Right. Oh yeah. They did. They should. No. Just kidding. Notables. There's it was like pretty fast and aggressive right off the bat. They're just kind of like.
It was.
I don't know what the word for it is, but they're just kind of like. They were just like kind of going not necessarily back and forth, but they're just like. It's like a tussle, I guess. Is that the word?
Yeah, that's good.
That reminds me. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it before, but Vince wanted to call WrestleMania. I think it was the Colossal Tussle.
That's correct. And he probably should have.
That's almost as good.
Because WrestleMania was whose idea? Mean Gene or somebody? I can't remember.
So.
Could have been. Yeah.
Yeah. That's almost as good as calling it stupendous.
The most stupendous or stupendousest.
The stupendous. Actually, no. WrestleMania Chamber is pretty good.
Yes. Reeking of stupendosity.
Stupendosity.
Yes.
That would be awesome. I actually need like the great WrestleMania Balls of Fire.
Balls of Fire was the best.
The great Balls of WrestleMania.
Nice.
That's what I need. That's awesome. Stomping WrestleMania or WrestleMania grounds. Corner chops by Guevara. Garcia is in control for a decent stretch, and then Guevara starts to make a comeback after the commercial break. Garcia counters a GTH into a sharpshooter, which was kind of nice, and he leans in like really deep, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
An FE crossroads for 2 by Guevara. Cheeky because Cody Rhodes is the champion.
It was a bit.
It wasn't very
of
good.
An awkward landing, right?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Didn't really like, I don't know, kind of like let go or something.
He didn't take it like Sammy did. Sammy looked like he died taking it.
Yeah, Sammy looks like he dies every time. Garcia counters the springboard cutter into a sleeper hold, but transitions into a bulldog choke, but then transitions into a pile driver for 2.
That was cool.
And then the finish comes when Guevara knocks Garcia into Matt Lee, who's on the apron, hits a thigh slap GTH for the win.
Oh my god, what a terrible GTH that was.
Yeah.
Just the most obvious thigh slap ever caught on camera, I think. So I thought it was a good match and easily the match of the night, not a high bar this week, I didn't think. Probably my favorite Garcia match, but I'm still kind of waiting to see what all the hype is about, right? Like I hear everybody loves this guy and he's the next big thing. So he's not a top tier main event talent at this point. And I don't think this was a top tier main event, and it was really too bad. The finishing move, it looked bad, honestly, and highlighted like one of the bigger thigh slaps you're going to see. So really not a strong finish, but a good match nonetheless, I thought. Like you, I don't understand the need for this interim title run for Sammy when Cody is back so quickly, but maybe they didn't know he was going to be back so quickly or whatever. But anyways, a good match, a good main event, but definitely not one of their best ones.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was fine. I guess it was like an alright main event, but it wasn't great or anything. Generally, I like more from a Dynamite main event. Like I really enjoyed last week's.
Right.
I think that was good. Minus one person's arm. There were some decent parts like Garcia's submissions, but nothing else really stands out. And Garcia is good and all. I'm not gonna say he's bad or anything, 'cause he's solid, but I really don't see the hype either. He doesn't seem super special. Guevara was fine here as well, but this is far from his best showing either. They definitely caught that GTH on the wrong camera angle. Also, with Cody returning next week, this just seems stupid.
Right. Overall thoughts, I guess. Was not a fan of this show. I can't say for sure if it's my least favorite episode of Dynamite ever off the top of my head, but it's close. It's in the top few for sure.
It definitely just feels like they kind of fell off. I definitely could see like the COVID theory. I definitely think I think that's like a leading theory. It
did have a few good things. Like I ended up liking the Deeb and Sheeta match / story progression more so, I guess. Really like the Pac vignette. Really happy to get the debut of Brody King.
Yeah, that was a highlight. Even like Lance Archer back was kind of, it was something,
yeah, that was
right?
A surprise, right?
Yep.
I didn't really feel any of the matches were very good or really mattered, other than moving the Punk MJF story forward in a direction I wouldn't have chosen, but nonetheless. So I thought this was a rare like AEW miss of an episode. So I gave it a shockingly low for Dynamite C+ this week. I couldn't even find my way to put it in the B range because I think this was pretty much top to bottom a missable show. Like if except for the Brody King debut that you might want to check out, like I don't.
But even then, like I don't think I think you could just show up next week and be like, oh, Brody King's here.
Right. So I don't think there was much that you had to see on this show. I was pretty disappointed by it. It wasn't bad. Like I didn't regret spending 2 hours watching it, but usually there's a few things that are really fun.
I don't know, like rewarding, I guess.
Yeah, and there was not. Yeah. So a pretty low mark for me. What about you?
All the matches on the show are just like kind of fine. I think that's the theme of the show. And also like underwhelming at times. Punk vs. Wardlow was solid until we got into the Powerbomb Symphony. Like it was all right. Martin vs. Hobbs is also fine, but didn't excite and just didn't seem to accomplish much. Deeb versus Sheeta was extremely short and very much let down. Felt like a setup match, which it shouldn't have been.
It was, yeah, you're right.
Like it would matter less if there was more on the rest of the show.
Yep.
Penta versus Matt Hardy was fine as well. Surprisingly, one of the better matches on the show, which says something about this show, I guess, right?
You're right.
The Acclaim versus Bear County was
weird. Didn't like the way they booked it.
I'm gonna call them Bear County now. They just deserve it. And the main event was also fine, but just like I feel like that underwhelmed because like I think they're both pretty good. Like again, I think Garcia's overhyped, but still I think they had a potential for a solid main event there. And for segments, I quite liked the opening segment actually. I think that was pretty good. We also had things like a short MJF promo, Pac promo, and Jurassic Express promo with Dark Order's Silver and Reynolds, and a Hangman segment, which were all actually like they were good to solid. And then there are some okay ones like a Matt Hardy and Andrade one, which I don't need that. And the interview to set up the trios match on Rampage, the women's
whatever,
one,
throwaway.
And Brock Anderson, Lee Johnson, please, that's the best you have.
Right.
Overall, fine show, just not very good as past weeks, just very mediocre.
I agree
for them. And I would I would give it a B-. I don't think I disliked it as much.
Right. Fair enough. So that's going to bring us to the end of talking about a lackluster Dynamite, I think we would say, and move into some trivia in what we like to call off the top of his head. All right, this week we've got 20-something general wrestling trivia stuff.
Yay, that's my favorite.
Some that are very easy. Ones that I thought were a little more challenging, I do have choices for you, but I know you pretty well, and some of them I know you don't need choices for. It's hard to stump you, but I think I'm hoping to go back to ending.
I'm too good, and you suck.
My gimmick of stumping you with the last question, I'm hoping comes back this week.
I'm hoping I fail. Or I fail your plan.
That my plan fails?
Yep.
There you go.
That's what I meant.
All right, so which gimmick match did Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns never compete in?
Yep.
Ambulance match, Inferno match, Last Man Standing match, Hell in a Cell.
Inferno match.
Correct.
You really think they had an Inferno match?
No, but I don't know. Well, maybe.
They haven't done those in forever.
The only one I remembered for sure was the ambulance match.
Mm-hmm.
That's
no,
it.
The Hell in a Cell one was the one where I remember they went through a table in the corner, and then Rollins and Ziggler are climbing like the side of the cell, and they do like the double announce table spot, and then so Roman and him are just lying in the ring.
Oh yeah, that's right. Just hanging out.
And then there's just like a no finish because Lesnar came in at the end. That was like the only other time he ever kind of had a beard.
Easy one. The team of The Rock and Mankind were known as
the Sock and Rock Connection.
Oh, so close. Can't give it to you.
Rock and Sock Connection.
JBL worked under which name that had a type of bird in it?
Justin Hawk Bradshaw.
Correct. I knew you'd knew that one. Who won the first Women's Royal Rumble?
Asuka.
I knew that one, which is shocking.
I remember because she was still undefeated. Remember, we were always talking about this would be like a way for her to not win, but never be pinned or submitted, and she still won.
Imagine in the lackluster women's division, they actually
where's she been?
Brought Asuka back and did something with her because she's freaking amazing. I don't know.
Even though she's won every title. It's not like, but it still feels like she hasn't done anything.
She's done nothing. Yeah. I know. She's amazing. Steve Austin debuted as the ringmaster in 1996. Who was his manager?
Ted DiBiase.
Correct. Say it like you did when you were a kid.
Diebase.
Dumb kids.
You're a dumb kid.
Billy Gunn was a member of which tag team in 1993?
Billy Gunn? Wait, sorry, who did you say?
Billy Gunn.
Billy Gunn in 1993?
Yes.
Oh, Smoking Guns.
Correct.
I don't know why.
Which you made me think of earlier today when you were talking about Lambert saying that Hangman wasn't a believable cowboy. Talk about not being a believable cowboy. Right. It was these guys.
Okay. Yeah.
So which show drew the highest WWE TV rating? You ready for your options? Main Event, which featured Hogan versus Andre the Giant.
Oh, Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yes. Raw is Owen episode. The Saturday Night Main Event, Hogan Bossman, or as in my notes it says Bassman, who was a little-known fishing character.
That's not even like not believable too. That's like something that they would have done too.
Mid-90s, where it was all like
exactly.
Where it was like your profession is your character, right?
Is Skinner kind
TL
of close
Hopper,
to that?
Yep, Skinner.
Mm-hmm. You were just watching a 93
Repo
Raw.
Man.
Repo Man. Yep, that's what I was going to say. Or Nails.
Yeah.
Even Big Boss Man, kind of.
Yes, for sure.
Let me think. Hold on. There's, Duke the Dumpster Droese.
Yes, that's another one. Sorry, so the Hogan Andre, Raw is Owen, Hogan Bossman, or Raw 1999 Austin Undertaker? What had the highest ratings?
I'm going to go with the first Saturday Night's Main Event, Hogan Andre.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Partly because that's a big draw, and partly because there were fewer options then, right? So, like, people can only watch few things, so you're going to get a huge.
So you get, like, a lot of kind of, I don't know, if accidental viewers is the.
Right.
You know, like, people who aren't really, like, looking to watch it, but then, like, they see it and
you didn't have everything on demand, so it couldn't be like, let's binge watch The Office. Nope, you got to wait till stuff's on TV.
Right.
Which city hosted WrestleMania 6? And I have options if you need them.
Toronto.
Correct. I didn't think you'd need them, but
Ultimate Showdown. I think we got that one and WrestleMania 18. I know it was also Canada. I don't think we have any other one.
This one I think you know because it's come up before. What was the Undertaker's name when he first arrived in WWE?
Kane the Undertaker.
Yeah.
We've done that one before. I know we have.
At this point, there's going to be repeats. If anyone wants to criticize me, go ahead. You can make fresh trivia every week for this kid then. The Godfather was also known by which other character name? There's been a few.
Kama is a Supreme Fighting Machine.
Nope.
Kama Mustafa.
Nope.
Papa Shango.
Yes.
The Good Father. Someone else.
I remember thinking Papa Shango was super cool when I was a kid.
I love Papa Shango.
Yeah, he was awesome.
And I'm just kidding. I love the Boogeyman.
What colors did the NWO Wolfpack use?
Red and black.
Correct.
And then white was NWA main / then the Hollywood. Then there was NWO 2000 with silver. There's the LWO. There was probably
the
something
BWO.
else. The BWO. That's true. That was blue. Then there's the...
Which was dumb.
The stupid World Order, probably. Something. I don't know.
Brock Lesnar has never won which of the following? King of the Ring, WWE Championship, Intercontinental. Yes. I did not remember him winning King of the Ring.
2002. That's how he got the title shot against Raw.
I hope people listening enjoy how you remember absolutely everything and I remember absolutely nothing.
I wasn't even born.
I know. And I'm just too old. Part. I don't remember things.
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't even think he's ever challenged for a mid-card title. Like, him and Cena
that makes
are
sense,
the
right?
same. Yeah, well, Cena at least had, like, the building block title,
True.
which was the U.S. title, but, like, Lesnar just shot up and he's never even touched anything else.
And even Goldberg had the U.S. title in WCW and stuff, so he'd be the other comparison I would make.
Yeah.
So who appeared on both Raw and Nitro on the same night during the Monday Night Wars?
Rick Rude?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Loved
I thought it was
Rick
either
Rude.
him or Luger.
One of my favorite. Luger was not the same night. I think it was the same week. Anyways, something like that. Who was the first wrestler inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Andre?
Correct. I had options because I didn't know if you'd know that one.
Yeah.
1986. 9-year-old me was watching Rick Martel and Tom Zenk, known as what?
Were they Strike Force or
They
were they
were
Can-Am?
They were the Can-Am Connection.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
correct.
I always get it because I know one of them's.
I liked
they're
both.
both like what? They're both like the exact same. It's just one of them is Tito Santana and the other
That's
one
right.
doesn't.
Which of the following
I gotta remember Tom Zenk is Canadian. So
has never won the WWF or E World Championship? Ready? So who's never won it? Jeff Hardy, Bray Wyatt, Jake the Snake, Sergeant.
Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake is correct.
They only gave it to Sergeant Slaughter because Iraqi sympathizer.
that term comes up a lot on this podcast, and it makes me laugh every time.
That's the only time they actually
it's such a WWE
he was
thing.
one of their main guys, so he kind of deserved it. But then they just wanted to put some heat on that because they wanted to get off Warrior back onto Hogan, so they made him an Iraqi sympathizer, and I
think they wanted to use the word traitor, but that was like too loaded or too strong. So you know what I mean? You can't say hospital, so you'll say medical facility. Can't say traitor, so you'll say Iraqi sympathizer.
Can't say belt, so you'll say championship.
Right. Who was the first? I forgot this. I can't believe it. Who was the first WWE Cruiserweight champion in 2016 when it came back? Yeah, why? I totally forgot.
And then it was the Brian Kendrick, bro.
He was one of the choices, and I thought it was Kendrick. He would have been my guess.
Kendrick was second at Hell in a Cell, I think.
Kane made his WWE TV debut interfering in what type of match?
Hell in a Cell match, Bad Blood, 1997.
Correct.
Shawn Michaels vs.
Too
Undertaker.
Easy.
It's got to be Kane.
Which country has never hosted a WWE event? Ready?
Joe Mama.
India, Pakistan, Thailand, Kuwait.
Pakistan.
Correct. How did you know? Because you remember the other three?
Nope. I knew India just got the Superstar Spectacle, right?
Did not know India. Thailand or Kuwait. Looked up both to make sure this wasn't wrong. Middle East. So
still in there. Okay. Pakistan. That's funny. Got it.
The premiere episode of Monday Night Raw was hosted in which city? I have options if you'd like.
New York.
New York is correct.
Yeah, it was in Manhattan.
Which of the following was a member of the League of Nations? Mysterio, Wade Barrett, Neville, Cesaro. Barrett is correct.
That faction, man. They were one of those things when I started. I remember that's right. I knew them. And they had the T-shirt. They each had a nickname.
Yes.
That was a funny time.
Hey, let's lump all the guys from Europe together. Because that's as close as we can get to
where
being the same.
Cesaro should have been in there. Come on.
The Rockers beat the Hart Foundation to win the tag titles in 1990. It was never recognized due to what?
I think the top rope came and hooked her over.
Why do you know that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Top rope broke. That's correct. The WWE European Championship debuted in 1997. Who was the first ever champion?
British Bulldog.
Correct.
Beat Owen Hart, and they were both tag team champions at the time.
I wasn't sure you'd know that.
And then they were gonna face off again. They were gonna get mad at each other, but then they formed the Hart Foundation, which then they feuded with Austin.
Jim the Anvil Neidhart also wrestled under what name? Do you want options?
Yeah, who? Who was it?
Are you just being funny?
Yes.
You know the answer?
Who?
Who? Say it right, because there's a question mark at the end.
Who's in the ring?
Who? It's like Trent? Who? Who is correct? Sorry.
But who was it? It was who, right?
Yes.
Who?
It was who.
Who?
Who was CM Punk's, not that who. Who was CM Punk's tag team partner during his WWE Tag Team Championship run?
Kofi Kingston?
And how did I not know this? Yes, I don't remember this at all.
I only know that from photo
shoot.
shoot.
It is Kofi. What color was the 2018 men's Money in the Bank briefcase?
Green.
Why do you know that? I knew you would know that.
Because it's still the current one.
That sucks.
It was weird because I remember they had I remember when I started they had the gold one because I remember that's the one Ambrose won.
This is all mean because I'm colorblind, by the way, people. So this is just him being
so they
mean
had
to me.
they had the gold one green logo, and then in 2017 it was a SmackDown exclusive, so they did a blue briefcase, green logo. I think the Big Four and Money in the Bank should have been dual branded because then you have I wish they had gone back to I like having the 2 Money in the Banks.
Yeah.
Because then you have one for each brand, and I feel like that just makes it more interesting. And then
is it Money in the Banks or Money's in the Bank? Just kidding.
I think there's multiple banks, so I'd go Money in the Banks. Because there's 2 different briefcases, 2 different banks, Money in the Banks. And then since 2018, they did green briefcase, yellow logo, which I think is ugly.
So last question, you ready?
It's not even like purple.
Let's hope you don't ruin the gimmick. Because you're not supposed to get the last one right. I don't remember this existing, and it made me laugh. And I actually went to look it up because it sounded like it wouldn't be true, but it is. Mm-hmm. What was the title of the Macho Man's 2003 rap album?
Be a Man?
Damn! Why do you know that?
I don't know. I've seen that before.
I literally, so that was in...
Yeah, isn't there like something against Hogan in there?
Probably.
Yeah.
So it was further up in the questions, and I figured that was the one you wouldn't know, so I literally moved it down to the bottom to try and screw you over, and it still didn't work.
You suck.
Anyways, you ruined the gimmick, you exposed the business.
I told you I was going to do that.
Ruined the entire segment, but crushed some more trivia. Good for you. So let's transition back into our weekly wrestling to take a look at this week's NXT UK. So this was a very much Walter-packed episode of NXT UK as it's being kind of billed as tonight is Walter's last stand. So we get lots of sort of packages.
They're teasing him going into a wheelchair.
With him throughout the show. And it opens with one of him sort of reiterating his Mat is Sacred catchphrase. And it's kind of got highlights of his NXT UK run up to this point. I thought it was a pretty cool video to start off tonight. And again, they do tell us that it's Walter's last stand. And the opening match is part of the, I almost laugh every time I say it, the tag team tournament, right? That was 4 teams. So I'm always, it's strictly an audio podcast, but I'm generally using the air quotes around tournament when I say it. So it's Dave Mastiff and Jack Stars taking on D Familia, which is Teoman and Rohan Raja, right? So the winners of this will face Oliver Carter and Ashton Smith, and the winners of that will earn a NXT UK tag title shot. So D Familia kind of come out with new music that I didn't really like, and I found you couldn't hear it very well. I love
it. Yeah, that I find that's a case a lot of the times. At first, especially when it's new, I feel like you miss like a lot of
And I liked Teoman's old theme. We were talking about it. It was like dubstep, kind of like...
I thought it was Teoman.
Whatever, I don't know.
I think Teoman.
So I didn't love the new music, but anyways, that's fine.
And Charlie Dempsey was wearing a shirt.
So yeah, he's there in like a shirt and dress pants while the other 2 are ready to wrestle. So the baby faces, which is Mastiff and Stars, they dominate early and make frequent tags. And then Dempsey sort of has to get involved. I think he trips one of the... I think it's Stars.
A lot of the tag offense is just like, it's really basic and just not that...
It was pretty standard fare in this one, I thought, as well. So D Familia then take over off of the Dempsey sort of involvement. They, classic heel tactics, isolate Jack Stars. Eventually Stars fights back, makes the hot tag to Mastiff, who dominates, hits a drop kick, senton combo to both heels that looked pretty good. Eventually Gallus ends up showing up to chase away Dempsey to stop him from getting further involved. And that allows, I was surprised here, this is not the outcome I expected. Dave Mastiff hits a bridging German suplex for the win, as Gallus and D Familia then are brawling, and then officials come over and sort of get control. So like what you're saying, I think a very straightforward tag team match that for me never really got into high gear. I think it was like solid work by everybody, but nothing really exciting happened here. And I would like very surprised by the result. We've talked about it on here, right? I think we both thought that this was sort of setting up for D Familia to win this tournament and get a shot at the babyface champions in Mustache Mountain, right? So that kind of made sense, but that's not
right
where they went. And I guess it looks like they're going to sort of be thrust into an angle with Gallus anyways, which might get them some good exposure because Gallus, especially, what's the one guy? Joe he's a pretty high profile talent. So I guess it might be good for D Familia because I do like them. So I thought it was a decent start to the show. Like I thought the match was solid, but I was frankly hoping for a better match, and I was hoping that D Familia would get the win. But anyways, it was good enough, I guess. What did you think?
Yeah, it was okay. I honestly don't love the result just because I don't think Mastiff and Stars are that interesting. I think Mastiff is a solid big man, and then Stars is a glorified jobber.
Yes, they're trying to like rehab him. I
think
from
D Familia is interesting. Also, their Tron looks like it says Die Family. So
right, irony.
That's funny. And I like saying Tail Man, so
yeah, he's cool. He's interesting to me for some reason.
I just like to say that word.
And
I like Dempsey.
Rohan Raja is jacked, man. Yeah. He's like built like Cena. I think
Dempsey is the most interesting. And then
you're interested in that guy for some reason. Eh? His like throwback to like the 50s gimmick or whatever it is.
He's the last Regal standing.
That is true. That's sad to say. Yes.
Yeah.
We then quickly see Ginny. She's on her way to join commentary. And then we get another video.
Which we get to see very much.
We do. Yeah, that's one of my. That was honestly. Yeah, we'll get to it, but it's a complaint. So then we go back to another Walter video focusing on his debut in NXT, where he murdered Jack Stars, who was definitely a jobber.
Oh my God, yeah, that was his first match.
Yeah. And then we get a recap of last week's championship match between Mako Satomura and Blair Davenport. So Davenport lost as Mako kind of, a roll-up's not the right term, but I don't know, she ended up sitting down into a pinfall.
Yeah, anyways. Like countering a pin into another pin, like a sudden pinfall.
And then Davenport attacked Mako after the match, and it looks like this feud is going to continue and we'll get another match, which I'm okay with because I actually quite enjoyed that match, and it sort of improved my opinion of Blair Davenport, I guess. I think for you a little bit too, right? Like she looked pretty good in that.
I really didn't like that squash match of hers, but I think that was better for sure.
We then get a hype video package for the Dragunov Jordan Devlin title match that's coming up.
Oh yeah.
Again, focusing on Dragunov's a family man and Devlin's a selfish jerk.
Devlin's a cool boy.
Does things for himself.
Oh yeah, I was I forgot to mention, I was looking through my my photos. I was like deleting stuff, and then so I put in my favorites to save it. But you remember
your picture with Jordan Devlin?
Yeah, yep. I still have it.
And that's the one where you went by yourself, right? Because I was tired
did not want to.
I was tired of running. That's a dad moment where I have to like get you to do some stuff on your own.
Yeah, but that was Jordan freaking Devlin, my guy. So,
long story short, it was an indie show, and we'd gotten a whole bunch of pictures with people.
We saw Walter. We didn't get one with Walter, but we did see Walter. I got to see the real belt.
We saw him down the hall from us. But anyways, we had gone and talked to all of them and gotten pictures, and he wanted to go see Jordan Devlin, and I was just like, I don't want to. Go on your own, because I could see you when you went, right? Like, I knew you were safe.
Jordan freaking Devlin.
You were a wee lad then.
Yes.
So this promo also included the hype one for Devlin and Dragunov. It included comments from YouTube and Twitter and stuff in anticipation of the match, and it's confirmed that they will face off in 2 weeks, I believe, on NXT UK, which should be awesome main event, unless they do it as an opener or something, just to be tricky.
Just to be like, I could see that, like, imagine it's just like that's like the whole show pretty much.
Could be.
Yeah.
Right? Like half at least, I would hope.
Yeah.
Anyways, we move into Amal taking on your favorite Stevie Turner, and this is the match that Ginny was heading down to commentary for.
Which, like, so they have it, like, up in, like, not like a balcony, but it's, like, up off where you can't
away
see
from
it in
ringside, yes.
Which I remember they did. I think it was when you were watching the big event or whatever.
Yep.
And then you see that. So I think it's kind of interesting because it's just like...
Because I lead a very full life and I watch random pay-per-views from the 80s.
Right. I always kind of enjoyed when NXT, I remember back in like Full Sail, they kind of... It was like kind of off to the side of the entrance stage. I remember Raw also did that, but it was like... I don't know, I didn't love that as much.
They move stuff around.
I was just like NXT because they also had like the NXT wall behind it. I think NXT's... But I like this because it's like another differentiation.
Yeah, something a little different. Cool. For some reason, and I'm wondering if it's because they needed to maybe edit this match a bit, and that offer, I don't know. But anyways, they were cutting to a close-up on Ginny as she speaks on commentary, like throughout this, right? And it interrupts the action quite a bit. I found it quite annoying. Anyways, Stevie Turner basically gets a whole bunch of kicks, and I think she hit a neck breaker to Amal in the ropes. But again, we were coming back from zooming in on Ginny talking, so we kind of missed half of that as well. Amal ends up winning to no surprise after a body slam, a running like boot wash in the corner, and then what she calls the Hope Breaker. What was it? I forget. I just wrote down
some weird spinebuster thing that didn't look right.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was a
ends
code
in
breaker,
a spinebuster.
And I was just like, what?
So Turner got more in this than I thought she would because it was just a quick enhancement match. I thought Amal looked aggressive, but it was honestly hard to get into this match because it was basically, to me, like Ginny was being interviewed while a match was happening in the background. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
That's
fair. Yeah.
Right. And I actually thought Ginny sounded really good. She's got her character down pretty well, but it was a major distraction for me. And clearly we're going to get Ginny versus Amal in the future, which is a fine, like, mid-card women's match, I guess. What did you think of this one?
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I think Amal looked fine, and Steve Turner was also there.
She was there. She did stuff.
Ginny, yeah, it was, like, a little too distracting, right? It's like with the commercial breaks, except you don't need to do it here.
And it wasn't like, because I just watched Impact as well, which I'll talk about really quickly later. And they had some guest commentary because D'Lo had to be dealt with. We'll talk about that too. And so it's different when they come down and join commentary and they're actually calling the action or putting over what's going on.
Right, or like,
but Ginny was just answering.
I don't mind if they like talk about their own stuff like a bit, right? Because obviously they're still them, like, but like and like incorporating the match at least.
Yeah,
and,
but
like,
this was like they're just asking her questions and she's answering and nobody's commenting on the match.
Especially if she's involved in this. Like, this is about her feud, right? She's especially involved in this, so that makes even less sense that it's like.
Yep.
She's not talking about it, because it's not even like she's unrelated. It's like literally like she's there because she's like embedded in this feud,
but took all the attention for herself somehow. Like Ace Austin came down and did commentary on the Jake something Mike Bailey match, and he was kind of like, I'm not going to deny, Mike Bailey's strikes are really efficient and really strong, like actually adding something to it, where I didn't feel that was happening with Ginny. I think she was doing a good job, but it felt like it should have been a separate segment, not simultaneous to me. So Pretty Deadly then walk into Sid Scala's office. They're basically mad about Sam Gradwell being mean to them because they are just like, they do a really good job of just being the whiny heels, right? That you just hate them. You just want to, right? I would say, right. You just want to slap these guys. So they want Sam Gradwell to be disciplined. So instead, Scala suggests they face Gradwell with a partner of Gradwell's choosing next week. And Pretty Deadly are fine with this because they assume Gradwell has no friends and that it'll basically end up being a handicap match.
How do you have friends with that hair?
Right.
That's a serious question.
They did take shots at his hair.
No, they should. That's a legitimate. How do you have friends with that hair? Honestly.
So I kind of like this. I think Pretty Deadly are really good in this role of just like old school heels.
Yeah, for sure. I also enjoy it. They're good in that role.
I thought they were terrible at first,
yeah,
right?
I thought they were fine as jobbers.
Yes, no, but they've matured and grown into a really good like main heel tag team.
Yeah, for sure.
We then get yet another Walter highlight video, this time focusing on his matches with Ilya Dragunov, which were both amazing. The first one was one of my favorite matches of that year, and the second one wasn't far behind, if I'm being honest. Just absolute brutal slugfest. We then get a lot of packages on this show. An A-Kid Noam Dar package ahead of their match for the Heritage Cup. You're literally
like, as you're watching this, who has the Heritage Cup? And I'm like,
Dar.
Noam Dar.
I was like, is he, who? 'Cause in my mind, they were feuding to be the number one contender for it. So then I was like, so who has it then? But anyways, I'm old. Give me a break. So A-Kid is basically lamenting losing the cup, and Dar basically thinks that A-Kid is just whining. I kind of like the contrast between these two because A-Kid is like serious and the really driven athlete sort of thing, and Dar's like the obnoxious heel kind of having fun and making fun of everybody, and the match should be good, so I'm looking forward to that. I thought this segment was fine. I don't know, but you had any thoughts on it?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah. Amal is then talking backstage after her match, obviously, so Ginny interrupts her and calls her weak and fragile, and this is just enough. Amal snaps here, She has to be held back by officials as the two women really annoyingly are just screaming at each other, and the microphones are
my God,
peaking,
yes.
and it was
yes,
tough.
Okay. I'm glad you talked about that, because Amal shoves her and then just starts yelling, and oh my God, yes, the mic could not take it. It was like
clipping, as they say in the business.
Yes, it was. Oh my God, it was. Especially Amal. I mainly noticed her. Like, it was just, oh my God.
It was brutal. But anyways, I think Ginny's like composed and calculating, and Amal is like passionate and fiery, right? So the dynamic kind of works.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know how good the match will be, but I think the character
we'll see.
contrast.
I don't have exactly high expectations. But
so then a lot of time, or a fair amount of time, for the main event here, which is Nathan Frazier taking on Walter in his like final match for now. As Walter said, it's not forever, I don't think, but he's going on a tour of North America, kind of. What do they call it in Japan? He's gone excursion to North America, right? So
right.
Like Okada,
like Okada to TNA.
Exactly. Which they made the most of that one.
Yep, absolutely.
Sure. So Fraser gets the odd flurry in early, but Walter just keeps overpowering him, including at one point just laying him across the top rope and slapping his chest, and then like kind of stepping on Fraser's throat as he's like hanging over the top ropes. That looked cool. Another flurry by Fraser is stopped by a Walter leapfrog, and then just a huge boot that looked
I love
awesome.
that, because I remember him doing that, I think against Dragunov, maybe the first match or something like that. But I just remember like it's so cool because he doesn't like, he just kind of jumps over him and then just boots his face off.
And Walter is the master of taking like basic stuff and making it
chop,
look devastating.
A clothesline, a boot,
and all
even
of it.
A splash.
Yeah, all of it looks awesome. Fraser
awesome.
then counters a powerbomb into a Hurricane Rana for a near fall before
It
Walter.
wasn't like impactful, but he got like a deep cover. He kind of made up for that, right?
Yes. Walter lands a massive chop before collapsing because he's now selling an injured leg at this point. We get a running shooting star by Fraser for 2 count after he escapes a sleeper hold. Fraser then flips out of a German but eats another boot before countering yet another powerbomb attempt into a near fall. We get a shotgun drop kick that sends Walter into the barricade as Fraser has some control finally in the middle of this. Fraser comes off the top, but just jumps right into a giant chop that takes him down and shifts the momentum back to Walter. We get a powerbomb attempt, but it fails as Walter's leg gives out. We get a curb stomp and a top rope splash by Fraser for a pretty nice near fall.
Back in the corner, I was like, that looks a lot like Rollins. And he does a curb stomp, and I was like, I knew he was going to do that.
Yeah, and then a frog splash, which Rollins does sometimes too, right? So he's kind of borrowing from Seth Rollins here. Fraser heads up top for his moonsault now, but Walter gets up, takes his legs out, hits a big power bomb, and wins the match right there. The finish kind of snuck up on me, if I'm being honest, but
yeah,
I thought this was a really good match.
I really liked the styles contrast.
Me too. And Fraser was like that relentless, smaller attacking guy, and Walter's just
and that's good, because especially with Walter, that's what he needed to do, right? So I like that that's what he did do, right?
And then Walter can equalize it with just one big move, right?
Right. So, it's like, I remember, like you said, like it's like 10 strikes is worth one Walter strike, right?
And
like
that
something
story
like that
never gets old for me.
No, it works.
Fraser took a ton of punishment, but kept avoiding and countering all of the big like finishing moves from Walter, which I thought was cool as well.
Which makes him look good in defeat.
Right. Walter, and again, just his ability to take simple, logical maneuvers and make them look just devastating is super entertaining. And it's probably a pretty safe style for him to work, right? He's not putting himself at risk. Yeah. He's putting other people at risk, maybe, depending. But and I think Walter selling his leg gave Fraser time to recover and continue attacking. The finish kind of came quickly, but I like that Walter was kept strong even on his way out the door. Normally, I'm like, you put people over, but he's a special talent, and I think he will be back. So I don't think he needs to put people over on the door on his way out the door. And like you said, Fraser,
right? Because that is the NXT tradition.
It is,
mind you, right?
But I think Walter's special.
And I don't even know if this is like a main roster call. It could just be moving to NXT main, right? Which I think makes sense given Imperium already there to kind of rejoin with them.
And Imperium is ready, like, to go to main roster. I don't want them to, but they are.
I could say that for a lot of people. Like we were talking about Champ and Dunn, they've been ready for years.
Yes,
but that doesn't mean they should.
Right. So I really enjoyed this match. Thought it was a pretty excellent main event, and Fraser picked up a lot, even in a loss here. What did you think?
Yeah, I really liked it too. I think you covered it pretty thoroughly. But yeah I think Fraser continuous counters of Walter's power works, because I feel like it's like in that spirit, One-Winged Angel, where it's not as protected, Walter's power bomb, but it's very similar. It's even a similar kind of like looking move in a way. And so I like that, like, because you just have to continuously counter it, otherwise you're screwed. Which I really
if you take one, you're dead.
Right, and like the leg target my welter, like you said, kind of like gives some realistic openings for Fraser to allow him to continue that like fast-paced offense, which he needs to do, but obviously that's tiring. I think I really like the combination curb stomp and frog splash. That was nice, and the finish was sudden, but I mean that Walter kind of gets him sometimes like that.
He does. Yep, I thought it was good stuff.
Good way for him to end his run.
Right. Overall, another good episode. The opening match was good enough. I wouldn't say it was great.
Yeah, I think I preferred what was it? It was Smith and Carter versus.
Yeah, I did too, which I didn't.
Who was it? Symbiosis.
And on paper, I wouldn't think that would be the case.
On paper, I wouldn't really care, but either.
Right. The main event was really good. The women's match was pretty much enhancement, and it was hampered by the Ginny at commentary stuff. The segments and videos were mostly about Walter with a couple others that I thought were fine, so I enjoyed it. It went by quickly. I would give the show a solid B. If the opener had been better, it could easily get to B+, but the opener disappointed a bit, so I gave the show a B.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought the opener was solid. Like it was pretty good. The women's match I didn't love, and then the main event was very good. I think it was a very enjoyable. And then the pack, I really like all the Walter dedicated stuff. I think that was really nice. The Amal segment, I can't enjoy that. Just the mic was just
bad. They need to turn the levels down a bit on that.
Yeah. The Heritage Cup thing was also fine, and then the Dragunov Devlin one was pretty good too.
I like that.
So I'd agree. I think it was a good B show.
Yep, and it's a quick watch, right? An hour of wrestling when it's decent, it goes by really quickly. All right, so that wraps up our NXT UK, and will take us into our next segment about other wrestling stuff that we call Any Other Wrestling Business. So I'm going to start out with some NXT that I ended up having to take notes on twice because somehow my notes got eaten by some mysterious force. So I had to frantically do them all again this morning.
Probably the cat.
It might have been the cat.
They might have looked yummy.
Deleted them all on me. So NXT this week starts out with your favorite. I think you saw a little bit of something, right? You were in.
I don't know.
We'll find out, I guess.
It's not coming to me, probably because I don't want it to come to me.
Breaker comes out first to speak about winning the title last week from Tommaso Ciampa. Basically, he loves his dad. He loves Ciampa. He loves the fans. He trains harder than anyone. He watches more film than anyone, and he's basically making an open challenge. Braun tosses the mic down, starts to walk out. He's kind of posing with the title a little bit. And then Escobar and Legado del Fantasma head to the ring for Escobar's match, which is next. And Santos and Braun share a little bit of a moment here. I think even Santos was like gesturing at his waist like a belt motion, and Braun was sort of showing him the belt kind of thing. So I thought that was kind of cool. And in the promo itself was totally fine, right? This was, I think, them making sure that we know this guy is clearly a babyface, since there has been a little bit of doubt in the past, right? Like War Games, he was kind of on a mixed team, and he's had a few moments where you weren't sure if he was heel or face. So This was like, I am definitely a babyface. I'm a hard-working, taking on all challengers babyface. So I don't think Breaker's great on the mic, but he's definitely passable for sure. And I think it looks like maybe Escobar is going to be the first challenger, and I think that's a smart choice. And this is kind of a theme of this show, is partnering up the singles champions with some experienced veterans to have their first defenses or next defenses with, I guess, because Mandy Rose has had one already. But I think it's smart because you're putting a strong wrestler and a veteran who can kind of guide Breaker to another good match, right? And give him a quality title defense, because I don't imagine that Escobar would win in any universe. So I think that's going to be the role.
Imagine he does. Oh my God.
That's going to be the role of veterans going forward on NXT. I think is just to prop up the kids, pretty much, right?
Right.
We then get, oh my God, what's dubbed the battle for Elektra Lopez, right?
Love her early. Lose her match.
It's taking on it's Santos Escobar versus Zion Quinn, as this has been teased forever, right? That apparently there's some sexual tension between Quinn and Elektra Lopez, and is she going to stay loyal to her faction, or is she going to go with Zion Quinn? So she decided to make herself the stipulation for this match. Whoever wins gets Elektra Lopez, and it's 2022. Ooh, so that makes sense.
We're moving forward.
Although I guess the bottom line is she made that choice herself. She's not being thrust upon her. Anyways, Legado obviously get involved, each of them at a couple points here at one point, and Quinn takes them out. I forget who it was, but he flapjacked somebody on the outside, and I swear he launched him like 15 feet in the air. It looked amazing. Might have been Mendoza. I don't know which one it was. But anyways, at one point I talked to you about this already, how dumb I thought this was. So Elektra Lopez still at this point has not revealed which side she's on, right? She's kind of neutral so far. So Escobar's on the outside of the ring, and he has Zion Quinn up on his shoulders in like a fireman's carry. So Elektra Lopez just walks over and sort of stares at Escobar. Again, we don't know whose side she's on yet. So Escobar sort of drops Quinn on the ground to try and talk to Lopez, who's not really answering him. And that obviously gives Zion Quinn time to escape, and then he attacks Escobar from behind, right? So then Quinn immediately rolls Escobar into the ring, and as he turns his back, Lopez just kicks him low to give the advantage right back to Escobar, who immediately in the ring hits his Phantom Driver, and Escobar wins the match in just under 11 minutes. And apparently Elektra Lopez will be staying with Legado. So I don't understand.
Because of the match result, not in anything else.
So she knows she's going to stay with Legado, obviously, right? But she interferes with Escobar, who has the advantage, only to then immediately cheat and help Escobar get the advantage back.
False hope.
When she could have just done nothing and let him keep the advantage, I don't
know, false hope. I guess maybe to let him lose the advantage to give him a bigger advantage.
Right. So let the guy you're eventually.
I guess other than that, I don't see any.
So you made the choice to let the guy that you're eventually going to choose to join or stay with take extra punishment just to be mysterious, I guess.
Maybe she's doing it to be a bitch.
It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me. It was only a decent match. Zion Quinn's really limited still. He did
At least he's not using that forearm. That's all I'll say.
He did absolutely launch one of Legado at ringside. Lopez.
Can't even remember.
Lopez's involvement was expected, right? I was saying the only way this makes sense is if obviously she gets involved to get the outcome the way she wants it. It didn't really.
She wouldn't just choose just choose in the first place.
It did, right. It didn't really make sense the way it happened for me. Again, why did she stop Escobar only to help him 2 seconds later? But anyways, what do I know? So this was not a great start. That is
a good question. What do you know?
Tony D'Angelo speaks, and he basically tells us there's 16 ways to use a crowbar. Only 16?
What?
I feel like there's more.
I think there's at least 6. I think you meant to say 60.
Right. And tonight he's going to only need 3. Okay.
What are the 3?
He tried to be nice and only broke Pete Dunne's hand, but tonight it's the end. He says Dunne.
Yeah, the bitter end?
He compares Dunne to his dog when his dog goes to the bathroom in the house, so he needs to show Dunne who's boss.
How? That is mean.
And you know what? So if it weren't for his ridiculous accent, he wouldn't be bad. Like, his delivery's pretty good. He seems pretty comfortable.
Forget about it.
On the mic, but as soon as I hear that over-the-top stereotypical Italian accent, I just kind of tune out. He's a cartoon character, right? But he's showing signs of he's actually got some talent. He needs to ditch this gimmick or dial it back or something as soon as he can. We then get a recap of Waller. Grayson Waller's appearance on Raw.
Wishful thinking.
Where I guess he tried to attack AJ Styles and it backfired on him. We then get the replay of, I think it was exactly the same Grimes segment from last week, where he talks about he's going to sort of stop chasing money and focus on chasing gold in 2022, which I'm fine with because a little bit more serious Grimes I think is better. I honestly don't think he'll win any gold in NXT 2.0. Not that he doesn't deserve to, but
no, he's deserved to for a while.
But the way they're running things, I don't think. But
yeah.
Again, it makes sense to have him chase because he's awesome and he'll give somebody a quality opponent, a quality match, and more than likely a quality win because it's all young. Right, it's all young kids winning the belts right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we then come to our first toxic attraction. It's Mandy Rose, and she is in a bikini by a pool with a belt. She's doing a photo shoot. She says she arrived at New Year's Evil in style because of the helicopter thing.
The funny part is I'm probably the age group that would be interested in that, and I don't care.
And you see through it.
I don't freaking care.
So this apparently is officially Pritchard's in charge of NXT now, and you can tell.
Oh, yeah, okay. And then Tiffany Stratton, no surprises there. It's not even that I see through it. I just don't care. Mandy Rose, whatever.
So she arrived in style and left with the championship.
Arrived in style.
She makes the NXT Women's Championship look hot. And NXT 2.0 is all about Mandy. So keep watching, keep staring. I know you will, is how she finished.
Well, you kind of have to stare at TV to watch, right? So, I mean, she's not wrong there. And that statement I don't appreciate because I think that title's pretty nice looking already. So, I don't think she makes it hot. I just think whoever designed it should be paid well.
So this is literally her entire character right now. She is hot and she wins.
Yep, she is hot.
And this is them just screaming to appeal to the young male audience. I will say that she's believable in the role they've given her. The role just isn't that great. It's just too bad, Rich. There's absolutely no depth, right? I'm super hot and I win wrestling matches. That is all. Like, that's literally, I'm not even like exaggerating, which I'm prone to doing. Right. This is all there is here.
That's pretty fair.
We then go to Cameron Grimes. He's taking on Damon Kemp.
That's an awful name.
Right.
That's just so stupid.
He's a
I did not see that.
Pretty big guy with an amateur background. But anyway, so Malcolm Bivens is on the ramp watching. And
why?
He's cheering Kemp. So I think the idea he's recruiting.
Oh, I was going to say, why is he recruiting a jobber? But he literally recruited like two security guys, I think.
Right. So Kemp hits a suplex at one point, but it's basically enhancement match. So Grimes wins with a pretty nice cave-in, although it was one-footed. It was like 1 foot in the guy's face, basically. So it feels like this, you know how the cave-in looks different all the time?
Yeah.
So here's the comparison. It's like a snowflake, okay? Each cave-in is beautiful and different, is what we're going to say going forward.
Well, sometimes it's not, but usually yes.
So Grimes wins just over 2 minutes, and as he's done, he yells into the camera that he's coming for gold, and he leaves. I thought Grimes looked good in this. I mean, it was a really quick enhancement match, and it seems that Bivens is recruiting Kemp. Kemp does have an amateur background, so that would make sense with him in Diamond Mine, right? And he did get killed here, but he seemed to move around pretty well, right? And if he's an amateur wrestler, they can do something with him, and he's a good fit for Diamond Mine, possibly, and probably at this point needs somebody to speak for him.
You know
and
who's
Bivens
good
is awesome.
Fit for Diamond Mine?
Tyler Rust.
Tyler Rust.
I'm not really sure what he did here to impress Bivens. If we're going kayfabe, like, you got killed in a very quick, like, 3-minute match. Not even. So I don't know what Bivens saw that he liked, but he did, apparently. So so Joe Gacy is talking. He says that he and Harlan want to express their gratitude for participating in tonight's, this is important, Dusty Rhodes Classic play-in match. What would your interpretation of a play-in match be?
I don't even know what that means.
So NBA does this now. They have play-in games where basically if you win, then you're in the playoffs, right?
Okay,
so the idea
that's what it is.
would be that if you win this, you're in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. So hold on to that, and we'll see if it makes sense later.
All right.
So they're thankful for the opportunity, and they don't want to squander it. They'll remember it for the rest of their lives and plan to use the platform to demonstrate that no matter anyone's size, skill, or experience, anyone can succeed in the tournament. And he tells Malik, what's his name?
Malik Blade.
There you go. Malik Blade and Idris Enofe that they are in a safe space tonight in the ring. So I'm officially going to say that I like Joe Gacy, and I even like Harlan standing beside him looking really scary.
Harlan looks like an idiot.
He looks scary, man, and he just stands there. So I think the idea, right, is as I'm listening to more of Gacy, that he is inclusive and equitable and all of those things. But when you agree to face him in a match, he's going to kick your ass, but he's still going to be equitable and inclusive. He's just going to kill you, right? So I think that's where we're going with this. And then when he takes shortcuts and stuff, it's even more heelish, right? Because clearly he's a heel. So I think he's doing a great job with this character. It had the potential to be awful and just a huge miss, but I think he's really making it work. It's one of the few 2.0 gimmicks that I quite enjoy so far. We then look back at Von Wagner's assault of Andre Chase, as well as Chase's blonde student and a random member, quote unquote, of the NXT universe that he sort of put his hands on before he got escorted out by officials. So Vic Joseph lets us know that Wagner has been fined and suspended because of it.
Oh no, Von Wagner's gone.
And it feels like, well, wait for the update later. It feels like they're trying to give him the Lesnar treatment, right?
Yeah,
where he's this unstoppable monster who just can't be controlled by anyone, and good luck with that because he is not Brock Lesnar by any stretch of the imagination. We then get our Dusty Cup play-in match, which is Malik Blade, Idris Enofe taking on Joe Gacy and Harland here. So Enofe and Blade surprisingly pick up the win here in 3 minutes.
Hold on, say how they won.
Harland earns the DQ. He refuses to stop attacking Blade in the corner. He's basically grinding his forearm across Blade's face.
That's like the lamest way to get DQ'd.
The referee makes the 5 count, and Harland just doesn't break. So the referee calls for the disqualification. Harland advances and really intimidates the ref, who's just kind of like, I'm just doing my job. I counted to 5. And then Gacy's sort of able to calm down Harland and lead him away before he murders the referee. So I don't know. I was a bit confused because Gacy is then just like smiling and happy, right? So is he like...
Does he just want to unleash Harland?
So I'm wondering if they're still in this tournament and they don't know how this was supposed to work, because why would he be so happy about losing his opportunity to get in the tournament?
Maybe he just wants to make Harland mad and make him beat up people and stuff.
Could be. Well, he saved him from beating up people. But so Anafe and Blade, I think, are trying to look like a tag team, and they did some sort of like...
Because they're the same ethnicity.
It was a crisscross. Yeah, that's WWE pairs them together, right?
Exactly.
They did like a crisscross rope running double team move that didn't look too great, but it has potential if they can polish it up. But I think Anafe has a little bit of something. He seems to have some charisma, so they could be a fine team in the future. They just got to get some experience and things, and that's what NXT is for at this point. I still haven't really seen enough to tell if Harland's any good or not. The match was nothing really, and I'm a little bit confused by how happy Gacy was after losing this match, because it means they're not in the Dusty Cup unless NXT doesn't know what play-in means. So honestly, I think it's like 50-50 as to whether they knew what that meant, and it's just like they're still in. This was like maybe what they meant was this was a warm-up match, you know what I mean?
Right.
And not a play-in match.
Maybe.
But we'll see. We then get a vignette for Imperium talking about their principles and dedication to hard work, integrity, and honor, while Americans are basically fat, lazy slobs that could never imagine putting in the work that Imperium do.
Right.
When Imperium win gold, they don't go on vacation. They just keep training even harder. So
sounds like something they would do.
I really like this. It is a little bit of the like standard evil foreigner gimmick, but I think it's working for them. They're just a really polished act right now. And unfortunately, it sucks to say that, but sadly, they're ready for the main roster, right? They've developed into a really interesting group while in NXT. They're in the best shape of their lives. They both look incredible right now. And then you've got the arrival of Walter, just solidifies them as like a potentially, because it won't happen, but they could be a top act in WWE. Well, actually, my notes say a potentially top act for WWE to ruin and waste. It's my official notes. Yep. It's probably fair. Crowbar on a pole match. Tony D'Angelo versus Pete Dunne. D'Angelo wins this one as expected, getting his win back after knocking Dunne out with actually what was a pretty good looking shot with the crowbar at the end of this. The match actually had some pretty good wrestling, but then in the beginning, the beginning was a lot of like each guy's going for the pole, right? And then the other guy attacks him from behind sort of thing. So there's a lot of that. And then once the crowbar got into the match, I thought it took away from it because neither man looked super comfortable using it, and the wrestling part kind of slowed down a bit. I liked that the ref at one point, because they were about to introduce a whole bunch of other weapons, chairs and garbage cans and things, and the ref put a stop to that because the crowbar is the only weapon you were allowed to use.
Right, that's kind of weird.
But Pete Dunne, no.
What? How dare you?
Because I'm about to say he looked pretty dumb in a couple spots here that annoyed me. So One, the crowbar ended up, so it was hooked on both ends of the crowbar. So one end of the crowbar ended up releasing kind of in the middle of this. So now it's hanging like pretty low because when it was put up properly, you kind of had to get up.
It's horizontal
and reach for it, right? So now it's kind of hanging down vertically.
It's like dangling more.
Low enough for you to just kind of grab it. So at one point, Dunne goes over to the corner and he has to act like he's struggling to get it down because he's waiting for D'Angelo to come attack him, right? So he looks kind of silly. Barrett, to his credit, tries to explain it by saying, like, it's not that easy to hook. You have to lift it up and unhook it sort of thing, right? Trying to cover for Dunne a little bit, looking dumb. But then, like, as soon as Barrett says that, D'Angelo just goes over and pulls it down like a toddler could have grabbed it, right? So Dunne looked dumb there. And then a bit later, Pete Dunne ends up with the crowbar, and he's been swinging and missing at D'Angelo. So D'Angelo slips out to the outside, right? And Pete Dunne just walks over, stands right beside the ropes, is watching D'Angelo, and does nothing as D'Angelo just walks over and trips him, right? So I don't know. Dunne looked kind of dumb here a couple times. I actually much preferred their first match to this one. I thought the stipulation hurt this match more than it helped it. So it was kind of disappointing for me. I did not enjoy it. Mackenzie's backstage now with Grayson Waller, asks about the match with AJ Styles that'll be the main event tonight. Waller says he's in the main event where he's destined to be, and he'll stay there tonight after he beats AJ Styles. Maybe he should even go to SmackDown and slap Reigns and Nakamura, he suggests. Everyone else tries for WrestleMania moments, but he creates Grayson Waller moments. So, I mean, this guy is a really good heel. He's so easy to dislike. I can't ever see him as a babyface. His delivery's good. He's just one of those guys that's punchable, right? Like, you just hate him, and that's what he's going for. So I think WWE really have something here. He may not last long in NXT, because what I'm hearing is this is basically like, you're in NXT for a bit, and they either see something in you and promote you, or they get rid of you.
Which I think is dumb, because that's not always... You can't always just make like a snap judgment, I guess, right? Like,
right.
That doesn't...
But they're going to, I think.
Work. Yeah, it's just stupid.
Then we get another Mandy photo shoot in a different bikini.
Oh, yeah.
And this time she's indoors. This time she does sort of turn her attention to putting over Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. Basically that the thirst for toxic attraction is at an all-time high, and they kick ass in the ring and break hearts out of it, because that's all they have going for them. There isn't a tag team in the world that can touch them. They aren't just toxic attraction. They are the attraction. So again, they're hot and they win. That's all.
Yep,
and
that's it.
I'm not really paraphrasing. I'm not really putting words in their mouths. That is the actual point of both of these segments tonight. And at least it was fast, because, I mean, I get it. You're putting out the eye candy. You're trying to attract a younger crowd. But you could also assume the younger crowd have a brain and aren't just focusing on attractive women. But what do I know? We then get the big 6-woman tag match. Indy Hartwell, Persia Pirotta, and Wendy Chu taking on Casey Catanzaro, Caden Carter, and Amari Miller. So Catanzaro and Carter do their entrance after Miller, and they've got like these guns that shoot smoke or something this week, and they're entering through the crowd, and they're really trying to act like they're just party, and it's really annoying.
And they're definitely popular.
So Wendy Chu is obviously in her pajamas still.
And slippers.
And slippers, and she has a body pillow, so she's honestly starts out sleeping on the apron as she's holding onto the tag rope.
That's such a good gimmick. Which is the single trick gimmick, right?
It's ridiculous. So Catanzaro and Carter do some of their flying around for a little bit, and then Wendy Chu in pajamas gets tagged in, lands stiff kicks like a handspring splash, a belly-to-belly overhead release suplex, and an exploder suplex, all in like a few seconds. And then things kind of break down. Everyone gets in the ring. Chu goes back to sleep in the ring. Pirotta takes out Amari Miller, and Indy ends up hitting her top rope elbow drop to pick up the win in less than 4 minutes. The match itself was a bit of a mess, and I didn't really enjoy it, but Wendy Chu looked impressive. Watching this tiny woman in pajamas suplex the crap out of people was very entertaining to me, so I'm really hopeful. The match seemed to be kind of focused on debuting Chu and presenting. I think the other secondary thing was like Indy is now more focused and not distracted by love, right? So
oh my god, that was so dumb when she was.
She can actually get back to wrestling, I guess was the point. So I don't think the match was good, but the like 60 seconds of Wendy Chu was pretty impressive, I thought. So MSK are backstage being ridiculous. They see the Dusty Cup, get all excited. They're talking about running through all the teams in the tournament. Dakota Kai shows up being crazy as she is. Says she won the cup.
I forgot about that.
Says she won the cup. Actually, we won the cup, she says. And then she tells MSK that nothing divides friendship more than success. And she walks off. Ooh, foreshadow.
Ooh. Which one of them would turn heel, you reckon? I figure Carter.
Yeah, I guess so.
If you had to choose one. I know. And I don't think they will. I think they're one of those teams, because I don't see either of them as singles guys.
I don't
especially if the Cruiserweight gone. If the Cruiserweight title's here, Wes Lee especially.
Yes.
Sure.
Tailor-made for it.
But like that's gone, so that's taking an option, right? So.
Right. But they hate tag teams. So if they think you have talent, it's like good wrestlers aren't in tag teams. What are you doing?
Right. Not like good wrestlers come from tag teams sometimes, and like tag teams serve their purpose.
No, never. I pretty much hated this. MSK are goofy and annoying, like a couple of privileged teenagers. They remind me of, no offense because you're a teenager, But when you see a group of like teenage boys in the mall and they just have to talk super loud for everyone to hear them and they have to let people see that they're being rebellious little teens, I feel like that's MSK. And Dakota's current character is terrible. And it's
so stupid, and I forgot.
And she was a great heel before, right? Like she was a really good heel.
I loved her. She was like probably my favorite. Like,
me too.
Shayna Baszler's been gone, so she was like my next favorite.
We are both big Dakota Kai fans. She's unwatchable in this role. I don't know why they're doing this to her. Yeah. And my question was, are they teasing an MSK split here? I can't imagine that would be good for either of them, right?
Yeah, because
they're going to be like,
I don't see why.
Oh, then they'll realize, but they're really small, so and they can't talk, so.
Right, like
cut. Next round of cuts, MSK.
Yeah, that's okay, because I think they could be far better used somewhere.
Trey Miguel did make a reference to the Rascals while he was doing poor commentary on Impact this week. Solo Sikoa doesn't care which Boa shows up, face paint or not. He's headed to the ring for their match. Kaylee Ray has a bat. She shows up where Mandy Rose was doing her last photo shoot, but Mandy is no longer there. Kaylee Ray is furious that Mandy Rose can show up to do a photo shoot, but she won't defend her title. So she uses that bat to destroy all the photo shoot stuff, including, I think, the camera last, which was sort of a cool little visual. So I like this segment. She just wants to wrestle and kick ass, and Mandy just wants to look good. So there's an awesome contrast set up there. Again, it's smart to pair Mandy with a talented veteran who can pull a good match out of her and get Mandy a quality title defense, because I'm just now locked into the position where I assume no veterans are winning anything important, right? So it feels like they're making a good decision to pair Mandy up with Kaylee Ray, and then Kaylee Ray loses and moves on, probably. We then get the match you've been waiting for, which is Boa versus Solo Sikoa. And if you thought you were going to get a finish out of this, you were wrong. So they do their usual stuff each, so lots of kicks by Boa and lots of standard strong stuff from Sikoa. It went less than 3 minutes, ending in a double countout because they both just refused to stop brawling on the outside.
Oh yeah, I saw this at least.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes, and the brawling continues into the back, and the match is over. It was pretty much a waste of time, but they were just setting up a segment that's coming up a bit later, I guess, and not giving us a result here. Mackenzie's now talking to AJ Styles about what just went down, and he says that's what he loves about NXT, the passion these superstars have. Except for Grayson Waller, who's the opposite. He says Waller has nervous confidence. I don't find that to be the case, but anyways. But that Waller has to step up to the plate. The Waller effect ends tonight, and he's going to ride his momentum, ding ding, main roster words, into the Royal Rumble. It all starts with Waller tonight. So now we know the stakes on this match are huge, Jack. It's for momentum going into Royal Rumble. Momentum.
Momentum. That's what everyone cares about.
That's all you need. It's more important than gold. I would rather have momentum. Literally is.
I would rather have all the momentum in the world than be rich.
And as we know, everybody that's ever had momentum wins every match then.
Yeah.
They've never lost
whatever
when they have
momentum. Need momentum towards, if they get that momentum, they win.
Yep, guaranteed.
And if multiple people get the momentum they
then
need, then it's
the universe implodes, and that's it.
Yeah, either the universe implodes or there's someone who has more momentum.
We descend into chaos.
Yeah.
It was a straightforward promo by AJ, nothing special, but it was fine. Recap of Carmelo Hayes winning the North American and Cruiserweight title unification match. And then we see Carmelo and Trick Williams are arriving to the arena. They hand the keys to the doorman. I think it's something about they won't be long, something like that. Backstage, Solo Sikoa and Boa are still brawling and throwing each other into various things backstage. Sikoa sends Boa over one of those production cart, those bins on wheels sort of things, so that we can't quite see what's on the other side of it. And as he leans over it to go and grab Boa, what do we get? A fireball to the face. So Boa can now summon fire. Boa slowly rises, and guess what? He's got face paint on now.
No.
He does. So, I mean, I struggle to care about this story. It feels like they're kind of doing what they're doing with Damian Priest, right? Like, he's got this dual personality thing going.
Oh, so, I don't like that.
Boa is basically possessed by Mei Ying's soul inside of him, I think, and now can conjure fire. So, good job, I guess. I don't know. I don't really care.
He really needed that, you know?
Vic Joseph updates us on Von Wagner's suspension, and the suspension has been lifted, and the fine has been paid. So I get the fine being paid because I assume this is Robert Stone, right? Because he's been sort of orbiting around Von Wagner lately. And Wagner absolutely needs a mouthpiece.
Actually,
and it furthers.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
It furthers the notion that this is the Brock Lesnar treatment because Robert Stone is supposed to be the Heyman, right, to Wagner's Lesnar.
I just thought of that.
I think
that's hilarious.
So I get that he could pay the fine, but how do you get the suspension lifted?
Persuasion.
Right? Are you
more money?
Are we to believe?
Money.
You know how I love to say that. Are we to believe that? First of all,
that just means that we don't believe.
First of all, there's some disciplinary committee, even though this whole product has been devoid of any sort of leadership for months now, right? But there's a disciplinary committee.
Not like they took out the good one.
And I guess the point would be they're corrupt, because why else would you get rid of a suspension that you just
for this supposed
implemented,
tough guy.
Right? So I don't know what's going on
it
here.
very much.
But this is no Heyman and Lesnar pairing. So good luck.
I can hate Brock Lesnar, but he's legit.
Right, he is. Exactly. That's the difference. So Carmelo Hayes and Trick now head to the ring to speak, and you saw this too, because I remember you were like, what was that? Same thing I was, kind of remember. Mm-hmm. So Trick says he's happy for Melo because Melo has gold.
Oh, this is what I saw. And he's like, he keeps saying, oh, as long as you have gold, we both have gold. That's not true.
So that's how it works. As long as Melo has gold,
so wrong.
They both have gold.
It'd be different if he just gave him the Cruiserweight title for fun. Like, then it would be like, oh my God, Trick Williams is Cruiserweight champion, imagine.
They go together like peanut butter and jelly, Shaq and Kobe, and Trick and big bootied women. Ooh.
Oh, I thought he was going to say that him and Melo go together like Trick and Melo. That's what I thought he was going to say.
Hayes says Strong was his toughest opponent to date.
His strongest opponent?
And they have a moment of silence for Roddy. And I even think Trick was wearing like a t-shirt that was like R.I.P. Roderick Strong or something like that. Mm-hmm. Numbers don't lie. Melo don't miss. He's the most scintillating champion ever in NXT. And we can call the title whatever we want. But because it's around his waist, it's the A Championship. Melo's music is then cut off by AJ Styles' music, and the Phenomenal One enters the ring, or he comes down anyways. He kind of faces off with Melo and Trick for a moment.
I don't mind teasing that.
Yeah, so they kind of have a moment as well, kind of like Escobar and Breakker did.
I don't love AJ sticking around here, even though I don't care because I'm not watching it.
Right.
But I'll take him versus Melo just because
me too. Good match, right?
As long as he's like just coming in for somewhat appealing matches, then I will allow it.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't get the point of this in-ring segment unless something does come of that brief moment with AJ, which it might, but it kind of felt like filler, right? And just kind of pointless to get Hayes here. Hayes does look like a champion and he speaks really well. And I do want to say, because we're pretty hard on Trick Williams, he seems to have sort of retreated to being Hayes' sidekick rather than his partner, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. It's like this is clearly not an equal distribution here, and this guy's just here as a sidekick. And that's much more appropriate, right? So Melo and Trick then are walking out of the building, trying to get their car keys from the guy that they left it with at the door. But lo and behold, Cameron Grimes has their keys. He says in 2021, he would have been doing donuts in their car. But it's 2022, and he's just going for the championship. He tosses the keys at Melo and walks off. So I like this for Grimes. He's a little bit more serious. That works for me right now. And just like I was saying with Kaylee Ray and Mandy Rose and probably Braun Breaker and Escobar, they're pairing, again, these young champions with veteran challengers who can give them a great match. So I'm imagining Melo gets a quality win here and adds to sort of his resume as a champion. And that should be a really good match because Melo's pretty good. We then get our main event, which is Grayson Waller, AJ Styles. I didn't take too many notes on it. Waller got a lot of offense, I thought, bottom line. I would say that he controlled the majority of this, and he looked good, man. He's got solid flurries, and then he mixes in, like, takes his time to sort of taunt and do heel kind of stuff. So I think he's quite good. AJ eventually does win, though. He hits a Pele kick, a nice-looking brainbuster, and a phenomenal forearm after about 14 minutes. After the match, Styles gets on the mic, says he loved giving him that ass kicking, and that Waller's good, but he's not phenomenal. But his night isn't over yet. He wants to introduce a good friend of his. You know who is a good friend of AJ Styles that's well established? Did you hear about this?
Mm-mm.
LA Knight. Okay, because we know they're friends, apparently. But anyways.
Oh, wait, no, I did, actually. Yeah.
LA Knight is here.
I think, yeah, I guess they were both in Impact?
I don't know.
But were they, like, at the same... I don't remember them.
I don't think they were at the same... I don't think they crossed over. I feel like Knight was a lot later.
I think he was... I know he was in, like, the...
Could be wrong.
GFW era, because I remember, and then he lost to Aries. Like, I think Styles is gone. I think Styles would probably have been in New Japan when Knight was getting big.
It's just WWE telling us stuff instead of showing us anything, right? Like, just trust us. They're friends. Okay,
guess they can't show us anything. But
no,
like,
right.
This feels forced. Oh, they were both. They used to both be here, so they're friends. Right?
So Knight obviously attacks Waller because they've got a deep history now. Waller gets taken out, and LA Knight and AJ stand tall to sort of end the show.
Wait, didn't their feud come from they were fighting over the host thing?
Yes, and that's still lingering. So I thought the match was pretty good, and it proved Waller can hang with the main roster talent, and I wonder if it's almost like an audition for him because he seems pretty much ready to go as well. AJ really let Waller take a lot of this match. I thought Waller delivered pretty well here. A very good main event by 2.0 standards. The aftermath didn't do much for me. Since when are AJ and Knight friends? I don't really understand that. And LA Knight is just not... He's not a great babyface to me, right? He's an underwhelming return designed to make sure that we know he is a babyface still, I think. And feuding with Waller still, which I don't really care about. Because to me... a Waller Knight match is a step back from a Waller AJ match, right? So I don't know if it's doing a great job of selling that match to me. Overall, the show took a major step back from last week's New Year's Evil that was really good, especially in terms of match quality. I thought the main event was good, but everything else wasn't, right? Escobar Quinn was nothing special. It was more about the Elektra Lopez situation than the match, unfortunately. Dunn D'Angelo match was disappointing and I thought hurt by the stipulation and made Dunn look kind of dumb in a couple spots. Boa Sikoa was pointless and led to a fireball to the face, and the women's match offered nothing other than an impressive debut, I thought, of Wendy Chu, despite her character just being ridiculous, and it's going to limit her, and she needs to get something different if she can actually wrestle, which it looks like she can. Braun cut a solid babyface promo to start. I like Kaylee Ray and Grimes segments. Toxic Attraction just continued to be one-dimensional, despite getting multiple segments every week. And MSK and Kai were awful, so kind of back to the standard NXT 2.0 stuff with meaningless 3-minute matches, lots of juvenile behavior. I gave it a C this week. The main event was good. The Kaylee Ray stuff was good. A lot of the other stuff was just kind of either not good or middle of the road. So a C this week.
C.
Then the only other thing I wanted to do, did you have any plans in any other wrestling business this week? Did you have anything?
I don't think so.
It's the only other thing I wanted to talk about. I checked out Impact late last night because honestly, they kind of got me with the Ring of Honor in quote-unquote invasion, right? I wanted to see. Plus, I wanted to see the main event, which was Roxy and Deonna Purrazzo. So just some notable stuff from this. The Ring of Honor guys do come out early. Matt Taven takes over Tom Hannafan's headset. And
Tom Phillips is still there.
He is there.
Awesome.
He's their new, and he's really good,
Sweet.
man.
Yeah, no, I liked him. As far as like main roster commentators go, he was really good. I think Morrow was really nice at the time they had him.
Yes.
And he was good.
He's good.
Graves used to be good.
And honestly, Hannafin has walked in with like clearly done his homework because he knows the characters, he knows the stories, he's up on what's going on in Impact. He's really good. So basically, Taven intimidates him, takes his headset. It ends up with D'Lo trying to stand up to Taven, but then he gets taken out by the rest of the ROH invaders and ends up taking a senton through the table at ringside from PCO. Other things notable, either good or bad. Laredo Kid and Chris Bay had an awesome 13-minute match. Laredo Kid won with his crazy, every time I see it, I love it, top rope Spanish fly belly to belly, basically. Miguel was on commentary for this. Since D'Lo got taken out, and I found him more annoying than useful, but the match was really good. And I think Laredo Kid and Chris Bay are 1-1 now, so they could probably have a pretty sweet rubber match at some point down the road. Morrissey was whining about Moose basically having Moose beat at Hard to Kill. He does have a point, because at one point the referee had been taken out and Morrissey basically had Moose pinned. I think the crowd counted to 10 or something at that point, so he's all mad about that. Brian Myers is back. He's embarrassed by Zicky Dice and VSK's lack of productivity while he was away. And tonight, Moose has already announced that he'll defend his title tonight, but it won't be against Morrissey. So it's going to be Zicky Dice taking on Moose in a title match. But first, Zicky Dice gets the biggest pizza I've ever seen delivered, and he's going to just crush a pizza before his match. which seems like a good decision. Jake Something Mike Bailey had a pretty good 4-minute match.
I saw that Something's contract's up, I think, end of February.
I saw that too. So Bailey won with his repeated spinning kick to the head, leading to what he calls the
That's a good strategy to beat someone. Just kick him in the head repeatedly. That's a pretty good strategy.
And then he hits that Ultima Weapon double knee drop that I think is cool. I thought it was cooler than
it was cool. I just don't think. I think he should have been lying down.
Ace Austin was on commentary for this one, and I thought he did a pretty good job here, a lot better than Miguel did. And I would love to see a Mike Bailey Ace Austin match. Other things, Masha Slamovich squashed a jobber. She looked really aggressive and vicious doing it. I think she's awesome. I'm super excited. She's in Impact. I think she's a really good get for them. She's just really different and fun to watch. Josh Alexander cut an in-ring promo about how Moose has screwed him out of his title and that he's basically the uncrowned champion until Moose agrees to face him again. So Charlie Haas surprisingly shows up here, starts out praising Alexander and then basically wants a match because they're both such amazing wrestlers, etc., etc. And then sounds like he's being respectful, but eventually attacks Josh Alexander here. So Haas is not good on the mic, and I don't think he was here, but I am happy that the story of Alexander seems to be he's trying to get back to facing Moose, so they're acknowledging that needs to be dealt with. But people just keep showing up and challenging him, right? Because they kind of want the rub from facing the great Josh Alexander because he is such an amazing in-ring competitor. So first it was Jonah kind of getting in the way, right, and demanding a match. Now it's Charlie Haas. So it's kind of like the story is Alexander's trying to focus on the title, but people just keep showing up from other places
Haas?
And attacking him. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, Charlie Haas?
Yes.
Like, World's Greatest Tag
Haas
Team?
and Benjamin, yes.
What?
He is there.
Why?
He's going to wrestle Josh Alexander.
Charlie Haas? Where the hell did they get him from?
He's in incredible shape. His face looks old.
Was he wearing tape?
I didn't notice.
Oh, because then you didn't see Russ, probably.
Yeah, probably. So I like the idea of the story they're telling with Josh. The segment wasn't perfect, but if Haas can still go, that's a kind of two really similar wrestlers that could have a really killer match, I'm hoping. Moose pinned Zicky Dice after one move, and Morrissey comes down, kills Dice and VSK as Moose sort of escapes to the back. Jonah squashed Ranjan Singh in 1 minute with his top rope splash after Singh gave a little bit of a promo beforehand. And then backstage, Gresham is confronted by Macklin. Macklin just doesn't believe that Jonathan Gresham has nothing to do with the other ROH guys coming and invading, and he basically ends up questioning Gresham's honor, which you cannot do because that is what Jonathan Gresham is all about. So Gresham kind of snaps, and this is going to set up a Pure Rules match between these two for the Ring of Honor title. So I kind of like Macklin's logic here, right? It could be a heel or a babyface coming up and being like, listen, a whole bunch of people from where you came from came and invaded this company. You showed up at exactly the same time, and you're trying to tell me you had nothing to do with it, right? Doesn't make sense to him. And he's no longer undefeated, right? So they don't need to protect him as much as they were. So it sets up more stories that he can be involved in. So Macklin and Gresham is a really interesting match to me. And then the main event, last thing I wanted to talk about was Deonna Purrazzo defeated, I think she's 20 years old now, Roxy, in what I thought was an excellent match. So Purrazzo retains the AAA, whatever that title. There you go. And she now earns the ROH Women's Championship as well.
So give her the Knockouts title again.
Let's
so
load
then
her
she
up.
can she can go circa Omega.
Right. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I thought you have an amazing heel in Purrazzo and a really good babyface telling an excellent story here. You had Purrazzo just viciously attacking Roxy's arm, obviously setting up for her finisher, right? Lots of cool holds and counters by Deonna to target that arm. Roxy then's playing the resilient babyface. She showcased a lot of really smooth-looking offense here. She looked better than I've seen her look, and probably part of that is due to the fact that she's facing Purrazzo, who's amazing. But for her age, and I think they said she's been wrestling professionally since she was 16, so she's super young, but she's got experience. She looked great here.
Like a younger, younger but Pete Dunne.
Kinda, yeah. The excellent match. Far better than the Purrazzo Mickie James match at Hard to Kill. Roxy's a star in the making. She's going to be working for one of the bigger companies in the not too distant future. Somebody needs to just lock her down if she's a free agent right now. Excellent main event and a pretty interesting show overall, if I'm being honest. A great X Division match, a really good main event. surprise debut in Charlie Haas. I thought it was a fun show this week, and I have to be honest, the ROH Invasion and the Roxy Purrazzo match are what got me to tune in, and I guess that's the point, right? So I'd sort of not watched Impact in a couple weeks. I did watch Hard to Kill, and the Invasion angle sort of got me to watch their TV product. So
what you're saying is Mike Bennett got you to watch Impact.
That's right. So they must be doing something right if I tuned back in to watch it, right? And I enjoyed the show. So I guess if you didn't have anything, we can move into our final segment, right?
Yep.
Which is where Jack's going to update us on the world of wrestling action figures in what we like to call Figuring It Out with Jack.
So we got a few things revealed from AEW. Well, not just images of things, but which is the norm. But a couple of ringside exclusives. They finally put out images for the coffin drop Darby Allin, which is from that Dynamite where he faced Ethan Page.
Right.
I think it Fight for the Fallen, I want to say. I think it was around that time. Anyways, and he's got some really nice paint. He's got kind of like skeleton looking paint on. It's like it's more skeleton looking than usual. It's from that match, and it's got a bit of body paint, which I always like.
And what does he come with, a skateboard or something?
Coffin shaped skateboard.
Right.
And then a body bag as well, and then the packaging is coffin.
A body bag. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I don't think there's many of those, or if any.
No.
And so there's a new kind of snarling looking one. I don't think it's the same expression as his Unmatched Series 1, because that one's kind of like a on one
snarl,
side,
yeah.
Where this one's like kind of just like a grimace, and then he's got the Series 3 Unrivaled head scan, which is just like a straight face, but the face paint looks really nice. I really like that. It's not like a lot as a ringside exclusive, which I think has been kind of the thing lately. Like, they don't feel like a lot, because usually they're a little different. Like the NXT Ciampa was a cool figure, but it's not like much of an exclusive, and this is like, I don't know, if it could come with an actual coffin too, I think it would be cooler.
Right.
But I think it's still a really nice figure. I think the Darby Allins are really nice. Like, there's the Unmatched Series one with the body paint. I still really want to.
Yeah, because he's
awesome.
Got lots of different paints and things.
Yeah, he's got so many cool looks. And then there's the Kenny Omega from that series. And speaking of Kenny Omega, accidental segue, the other exclusive they revealed images for was the Exploding Barbed Wire Death Match 2-pack, which is Omega and Moxley.
Minus the explosion.
Yep. I said they should have put a disclaimer that there's no disappointing sparklers included.
Right.
And so this is the third.
It would have been funny if it came with like a couple sparklers in it, and they're acknowledging like this is basically exactly what the explosion looked like.
And so it's the third like thing in this ringside exclusive Blood and Guts line, because there's the Blood Brothers one, which was Dustin and Cody from Double or Nothing, like the first show. And then there was Baker from the Lights Out match, which was a single one. And then now they're back to the double packs with Omega and Mox. And this is really awesome. It's them with the blood on again. It's gray pants Mox from that, obviously, with blood all over the body. They used a new head scan, which is, it's a head scan from the Unrivaled Series 5 Chase variant, but that had an eye patch. It's the same head scan without an eye patch. So
yeah.
New, not new, but that's kind of cool. He comes with like a Mox shirt, so that's pretty nice. It's got it's like Mox, but like with the skull for an O and stuff, so that's cool. It says no quit on it. And then Omega's got like the white tank top with it's got like the deathmatch graphic on it, and it's even got like blood stains on the shirt, which is really nice. Cool. He's got like blood soaked in his hair, on his face, on his arms or whatever, and he's wearing like long jeans but with the knee pads over, which is kind of cool. And that's a new head scan for him too. And so you get interchangeable hands. You get the AEW title. You also get a barbed wire bat and a barbed wire chair. Then you get 2 tables and some more loose barbed wire.
And I don't think WWE is going to be putting out any bloody figures.
Yeah, no, that's why this is kind of like a ringside exclusive line, which allows them to. I think the packaging looks really nice. It's all packed in. Like, at first I didn't, until I saw later images, I didn't even know that you get 2 tables, so that's pretty cool.
Cool.
They're the same table that came with the Jericho bubbly thingy.
Right.
And then you just can put barbed wire on them, like from the match. And then you get interchangeable. So I think this one's really nice too. I definitely want to get that at some point.
Sounds cool.
The only issue is that these are both only on ringside.
Dang it.
Yeah, but I will find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, and where there's a figure, I would like it.
Fair enough.
And that is pretty much it.
Wow, that was pretty brief this week.
Yes,
I feel like it's been a while since there's been a major release of a lot of stuff.
I think next like big thingy, there'll be a bunch.
A lot, right?
Yeah. Also, I found out recently that it's possible I get Jedi Fallen Order 2 this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to bring us to the end of episode 78. There is talk of us sitting down and doing... I think
we'll try War Stuff maybe tomorrow, at least, with school coming back. It's best to get that
out of the way.
Done. And it's been a little bit, I think it's almost been a couple weeks since.
Yeah, we've been procrastinating a little bit, but we said we'd get it out in January was our goal, right?
That's the goal. We're literally like halfway through January, it's 15th.
So if you like our stuff, check that out. It should hit the airwaves tomorrow at some point. Wherever you found this, you can find that. And yeah, we definitely will get that one out of the way, and then we'll be back next week at around this time for episode 79.
And it's almost Royal Rumble time.
And we'll probably talk about that too. But anyways, we look forward to seeing you all back here next Saturday, plus a few more. If you could like, subscribe, recommend us to somebody, that would be great. We'll see you all next Saturday for sure. And until then, take care.